ராமானுஜதயாபாத்திரம் ஞானவைராக்யபூஷணம் ஸ்ரீமத்வேங்கடநாதார்யம் வந்தே வேதாந்ததேசிகம் லக்ஷ்மீநாதசமாரம்பாம் நாதயாமுனமத்தியமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சாரியபர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குருபரம்பராம் யோ நித்யமச்சுதபதாம்புஜயுக்மருக்மவ்யாமோஹதஸ்ததிதராணி த்ரிணாயமேனே अस्मद्गुरोर् भगवतोस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्धना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्तांग्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। अचतुर्वदनोर्ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अफाललोचनशम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः पाराशर्यवचःसुधां सुमनसः दुग्धाब्धिमध्योद्धृतां संसाराग्निविदीपनव्यपगतप्राणात्मसञ्जीवनीं पूर्वाचार्य सुरक्षितां बहुमतिं व्याघात दूरस्थितां आनीतां तु निजाक्षरैः सुमनसः भौमाः पिबन्त्वन्वहम् निगमकल्पतरोः गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवत रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिकाः भुवि भावुकाः। सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमिदं कालदेशावधिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्तभाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावळी लोभनीयं पीयूषप्लावितोऽहं तदनु तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशं तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परमसुखरसास्वाद रोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत्सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलयभृता शोणपाणिप्रवाळेनोपाता वेणुनाळीं प्रसृतनखमयूकाङ्गुलीं सङ्गशारां कृत्वा वक्त्रारविन्दे सुमधुरविकसदरागमुद्भाव्य मानैः शब्दब्रह्मामृतैः त्वं शिशिरितभुवनैः सिञ्च सिञ्च मे कर्णवीथीम् योगीन्द्राणां त्वदङ्गेष्वधिकसुमधुरं मुक्तिभाजां निवासो Bhaktanam kamavarshadhyutarukisalayam Nathate padamulam Nityam chittassthitam me Pavanapurapate Krishna Karunya Sindho Krishna Karunya Sindho Ritva Nisheshatapan Pradishatu Paramananda Sandoha Lakshmi Ajñātvā te mahatvam yadiha nigaditam Vishwanatha kshametaha Stotram chaitat sahastrottaram adhikataram Tvatprasadaya bhuyat Vedha narayaniyam Shrutishu cha janushastutyata Varnanena Spitam leelavatārairidamita kurutam Ayurarogya Saukyam Ayurarogya Saukyam Janaki Kanta Smaranam. Breakfast. Janaki Kanta Smaranam Gopika Jeevana Smaranam. With the abundant blessings, benign grace of Paramatma, the Arvars and the Acharyas, it is momentous for a certain reason. The primary reason is Sri Venugopala Swami with the Ubhaya Nachimars, Sri Bhu, Sri Devi and Bhudevi, Sakshat Kshamam, Karunaya Kamalam Ivanyam. Swami Vedanta Deshika says, Samasta Jananim Vande Chaitanya Stanyadayinim Shreyasim Srinivasasya Karunam Ivarupinim. He refers to Sri Devi. Vande Vrishagirishasya Mahishim Vishwadharinim Tatkripa Pratighatanam Kshamaya Varanam Yaya. He refers to Bhudevi. With Sri Devi and Bhudevi we have Venugopala Swami. If I am right, I forgot. He is Chaturbhuja Venugopala Swami, right?
Yes.
You remember on day 5, I said when Krishna was born he had 4 hands. After Kamsavadham, he had 4 hands. I even quoted Bhagavad Gita shlokam. But most of us would have had it out. We have seen Krishna only with 2 hands. See, he has proven on this day. 4 hands. Now, this is the Sanchara Swami, Sanchara Murti of the revered Sri Rangam, Srimad Andavanashramam. We can easily assume that the grace of the Acharya Prakritam Srimad Andavan is also there. Because that is why the Sanchara Vigraham Murti has come and bestowed his blessings on the culminating day. That said, this is the last day of the Bhagavata Saptaham series. For me, this is the last day in my 43-day series in the US. This is also momentous. I told you it is momentous for a variety of reasons. Today is also what match? IPL. If we do, see, if you do not know the knowledge, if you do not have the knowledge of IPL, how will you get moksha? Tell me. It is pertinent jnanam. So a lot of things. And tomorrow you are going to have holiday. Is that Memorial Day? So if you come to Bhagavata Saptaham, one day you get rest. That said, today is also a day of fortune for me because I have great Bhagavatottamas on the stage with me. Swami comes in the lineage of Papanasam Shivan, right? So, Papanasam Shivan, the devout composer of the 20th century, whose compositions every day we keep singing. Kayilendi shirati paluti. And they have sung a lullaby to him because his composition is that of his great grandfather. Correct? Huh? Yeah. I have had the fortune to sing his aunt, Rukmini Ramani Mami. So she used to come to Pilani because her granddaughter was studying in Pilani. Correct? Huh? So we have such a beautiful Goshti of Bhagavatottamas on stage. So at one point in time, we will be collaborating for the Bhajana Sampradayam and the Upanyasam together. In the Purva Charitram, we discussed Vaktru Vailakshanyam, Shrotru Vailakshanyam, Vishaya Vailakshanyam, the greatness of the speaker, the greatness of the listener, and the topic. Shuka's greatness, Parikshit's greatness, and the greatness of Bhagavatam. Eventually, we covered topics like Matsyavataram, Kurmavataram, Varahavataram, Nisimhavataram, Vamanavataram, Parashuramavataram, Ramavataram. We covered Prithu Charitram, Dhruva Charitram, Daksha Yajnam, Kapilopadesham, Ambarisha Charitram, Ajamilo Upakhyanam, Rishabhanatha Charitram, so on and so forth. In Krishnavataram, we covered Shri Krishna Jananam, Putanavadham, Shakata Bhanjanam, Trinavartavadham, Navanita Chauryam, Ulukhala Bandhanam, Govardhanodharanam, Kaliya Mardanam, then the Katyayani Vratam offered by the Kanyaka Stris, and of course Rasa Krida and Venuganam. Only after the lecture I will, mull. As we ruminate like the animals, I realized that I should have told you one composition of Uttukadu Kavi. Uttukadu Kavi, you all know, was a composer par excellence. He was pre-Tyagaraja. He came up with Navavarnams even before Muthuswami Dikshitar came up with. So this Venuganam, Krishnanubhavam has been put forth in beautiful compositions. Alaipayude Kannayan Manamigu Alaipayude Unananda Mohana Venuganamadil Palvadiyun Mugam Ninainden Ullam Paravashamigavagude ஆசைந்த அடுமையில் ஒன்று கண்டால் நம் அழகன் வந்தான் என்றே சொல்வது போல் தோன்றும் குழலூதி மனம் எல்லாம் கொள்ளை கொண்ட பிம்பும் குறையேதும் எனக்கேதடி தாயே யசோதா புந்தனாயர் குல துதித்த மாயன் கோபால கிருஷ்ணன் செய்யும் ஜலத்தை கேளடி தாயே. Yashoda. In another composition, he says, look at those of you who can relish Tamil. அறிவெனும் நந்தவன மலர்ந்த மாமலரே மனமுகந்த நறுமணமே மனமலைந்து மகரந்தம் தனை நாடி வரும் பண்ணுகந்த கருவண்டெனும் தீங்குழலே குழலிசையே அறவேறி நடமாடும் அரசே என்னுயிரே உன் புகழ் எத்தனை கேட்டாலும் போதும் என்பதே இல்லை என்னேபடி ஆச்சே இன்னிசையுடன் குழலூதி கோபியரோடு உறவாடும் தன்னிகரில்லாத ராஜ கோபால சுவாமி. Look at the words. அறிவெனும் நந்த வனமலர்ந்த மாமலரே மனமுகந்த நறுமணமே மனமலைந்து மகரந்தம் தன்னை நாடி வரும் பண்ணுகந்த கருவண்டெனும் தீங்குழலே குழலிசையே அறவேறி நடமாடும் அரசே என்னுயிரே உன் புகழ் எத்தனை கேட்டாலும். You should be deeply involved in the language to even understand how beautifully he has strung words together. That was Venuganam. There is one more incident, which is Dhenuka Vadam. Dhenuka was supposed to be one of those uncivilized donkeys. I'm not abusing. He was a donkey. So, Dhenuka satam grihitva prapador brahma mityevaikapanina chikshepa tannaraja agre brahmana tyakta jeevitam. So, when they got into a little forest in the outskirts of Vrindavanam with, of course, his friends who were initially reluctant to come because of this Dhenuka. Krishna wanted to bring some peace. He wanted to restore peace. So as Krishna went into the forest, Dhenuka came running, and then we have Krishna lifting Dhenuka, swirling him around and throwing to the trees. Now, this Vadham is not of great importance to us. But what is more important is the literary part. It is said that the jackals came running because once there was disturbance amidst the trees, the jackals came running. It is called Jambuka in Sanskritam, the jackal. So the jackals came running. But Narayana Bhattadri uses this as a very beautiful imagery. He says, Jambuka namadheyam shrutif prasiddham vyadhiteti manye. See, have you heard of Varuna? Who is Varuna? Dhavan's son. Who is Varuna? You know Varuna, the Adhara Devata for Jalam. He is called Varuna Devata. That is why wherever there is water, let's say sea, ocean, it has a lot of water. So it is called Varunalayam. Alayam means place. Varunalayam, where there is Varuna, water. Vedanta Deshika says, Karuna Varunalayam Vrishashaila Tatasthanam Swayam Vyaktim Upagatam. So, Varuna is the Adhara Devata for water. In Vedas, you keep getting the name Varuna. But when we come to Puranas also, we get the name Varuna. But the difference is in Vedam, in certain places, instead of the name Varuna, there will be the name Jambuka. So Varuna will be called Jambuka, Jambuka, Yanamaha, but it is there in Vedam, not in the Puranam. So there was a question. In Vedas, here and there, you can find the reference of Varuna as Jambuka. Why is it not there in Itihasa Puranas? For that question, Bhattadri answers, because when Krishna threw Dhenuka, the Varunas came, the jackals came. And Krishna managed to vanquish them as well. Now they were all Jambukas. Who is the other Jambuka? Varuna. So Varuna was worried, if I am called Jambuka popularly, then Krishna might assume I am also a jackal and kill me. So Bhattadri says, he hid the word Jambuka in Vedam. Shrutif prasiddham vyadhiteti manye. That is Bhattadri's greatness. Now, this is Dhenuka Vadam. Next is another important event that we come across in Srimad Bhagavatam, but not the way that we have perceived it to be. What is that Sambhavam? See, whenever we think of Krishna, who comes to our mind? Okay, first option, Ramar. Next. Very good. Radha. But the beauty is, with such an important name and patram, you might have wondered, I never mentioned about her. See, if you go to some of the Sampradayams, they will say Radhe, Radhe, Radhe Krishna, Radha Sameta Krishna. So many compositions. Especially if you go to the north of India, Radha Krishna Sampradayam is very important. I don't even know if Rukmini features there. She is the first name in that ration card. Rukmini Krishnan. She won't feature. It is always Radha Krishna. And there's a place called Barsana. There is a Radha Jayanti. Why? See, one of the primary sources for us to understand Krishna Avataram is Bhagavatam, no doubt. Primary sources. We also have equal reverence to the Panchamamsham, fifth Amsham in Vishnu Puranam by Parashara that talks about Krishna Avataram. So, Parashara Maharshi talks about Krishna Avataram. Vyasa Shuka talk about Krishna Avataram in Bhagavatam and Bharatam. What are the other sources? In other Puranas, there is mention of Krishna in parts. In Bhagavatam, there is no mention of Radha. Underline that word. Again, there will be some great Brihaspati. He will come and tell me, Swami, no, there is Radha. What he will do is he will download the PDF and put Control F. You will get Radha. You will get Radha, but that Radha is not a noun. It is an adjective. See, I love someone. Radha means love. The one who was not showcased love in Ramayana was Viradha. He didn't have love. Which means you're not recipient to proper civilization. Then Viradha. Radha means love. So you can use word as an adjective as well as a noun. Did I tell you about wood? Mr. Wood. They talk about wood. Woods. So you can use a word in either way. Similarly, Radha there in Bhagavatam may be used as an adjective, not as a noun. There is no character mentioned as Radha. But of course, there is a light mention of Krishna having a soft corner for a certain lady. But we don't know who that lady is. In Devi Bhagavatam, there is a line. Radhanoti Sakalan Kaman Radheti Prakirtita. The one who helps in getting rid of the sins is called Radha or Radhika. That's all, one line. Padma Puranam, Skanda Puranam later come up with few inserted lines about Radha and Krishna. If at all we have to attribute to one Grantham about popularizing Radha, it is Jayadeva's Ashtapadi, which is called Gita Govindam. He is said to have been born in Odisha near Kenduli. He had a wife called Padmavati. As a couple, they were very devout. Uthukad Kavi says, Padmavati Ramanam. Very nice couple. He writes the essence of Radha and Krishna, Premika Bhavam. What he says is, in a nutshell I'll tell you, because I have to cover Radhika also. Though it is out of syllabus from Bhagavatam, we will do some outside research work and then come back to Bhagavatam. It is said that while Krishna's naming ceremony happened in Gokulam, Radhika, who was the daughter of the opposite person, in hostel life we used to call them Oppi, opposite house. Opposite house, Vrishabhanu's daughter was Radhika. She was 6 years. Krishna's naming ceremony happened. She was 6 years. Sir, is Radha elder to Krishna? How is that possible? Did you ask the same question to Anjali Tendulkar and Priyanka Jonas? Go ask them, then you can ask them here. So, here, Radhika used to play with the little Krishna. Yashoda was unable to stand this boy's tantrums. Around while Radhika was about 14, 15 and Krishna was 9 years, she said one day, take him to the close by park. Engage him. I've got lots of work. Around 5:30, 6 p.m., she took him to the close by park. Both of them sat on the bench. I don't know about the park here. I know Nateshan Park, Panagal Park. Some park she took. In Bangalore, Kumara Park, Madhavan Park. They sat. Then she bought some caramelized popcorn for Krishna. She said, eat. As she turned right, to look at the people who were walking by, and then she turned left. She didn't see Krishna. She indeed spotted a 16-year-old young yuva with bell-bottoms pant. She asked, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm Krishna." So Jayadeva says, for giving that Shringara Anubhavam to Radhika, Krishna transitioned and made himself available as a 16-year-old boy. Now you may ask whether all this magic is possible. That is why I said we always put ourselves in that position. We cannot do that magic. That is why he is Adbhuta Balakam. We are Balakam. So he transformed himself into a 16-year-old man, and Radhika fell in love with him. That is when she said, "Krishna, what should I do?" He said, "You go sit by the banks of river Yamuna. I shall come and meet you. A lot more can happen over a cup of coffee. You can put that hot and I'll come." She went and sat. It was around 8 p.m. in the night. She was waiting. When will Krishna come? Then Jayadeva introduces a Sakhi character. She asks her friend, "Is he here?" That time the girl says, no, but wait for him. The atmosphere is so intoxicating with the smell of clove. Lalitala Bangalata Parishilana Komala Malaya Samire Radhe Lalitala Banga. The smell of the clove. She says, "Is it so intoxicating? Will he come and meet me?" The Sakhi assures her, "Don't worry, he will come." Now it turned 9 p.m. He hasn't come. "Sakhi, can you please go and check where he is?" She goes, checks between the gaps of the leaves in a dense tree, checks what he is up to, comes back and tells Radhika what he is doing. She asks, "What is he doing?" "You know what? Some of our friends have brought some new sandal sticks. They wanted to check how the quality of the sandal sticks were. They didn't find a rubbing stone. So they are asking Krishna to bend so that they can rub the sandal on his back and check how it is." Chandana charchita neela kalebara pitavasana vanamali kelichalan manikundala mandita Gandayuga smita shali haririha mugdha vadhuni kare vilasini vilasati keli pare. Then Radhika gets angry. She says, "I've been waiting for him. He's not even bothered to send me a message. He could have sent a message." That is when she says, "The nectarine cool rays of the moon is also scorching to me. The smell of the sandalwood is also obnoxious to me." Why? Because I'm in love with him. See, in Shringaram, those of you who are learning dance will know, in Shringaram there are Navarasas, right? What are the Navarasas? Vepambu, Elamichambada rasam. So we have Navarasas, right? In that one rasam is Shringara rasam. Important rasam, love. But you can express love both ways. You can enjoy, you can have the pleasure when you are with the person whom you love the most. That is also Shringaram. When that person goes away for some project, you will miss that person. Generally these days nobody misses. If you miss, if that is that kind of a Divya Dampatyam where they miss, then it is called as Vipralamba Shringaram. Love because of separation. That is when she says, "Nindati chandana mindu kirana manu vindati kheda madhiram vyala nilaya milane nagaralamiva kalayati malaya samiram Savirahe tavadina Krishna." So both of them feel the love. Finally, Krishna manages to come. As he comes, Radha is very angry. She says, I will not talk to you. That is when Krishna says, see, there is darkness everywhere. Radhika, there is darkness everywhere. The god in the west said, let there be light. I am asking you, Radhika, shed some light. You know how you can shed your light? Smile. As you smile, the whiteness from your teeth will dispel the darkness. Vadasi yadi kinchidapi danta ruchi kaumudi haratuttaratimiram ati ghoram priye charushile priye charushile. She is not ready to budge. That is when Krishna says, if the only way to remove the anger that you have against me is through keeping your lotus-like feet on my head. Krishna says, keep your feet on my head. Mama shirasi mandanam. Then I don't know whether she kept or not, she cooled down. Then both of them got together. Kisalaya shayanatale kurukamini charananalina vinivesham tava pada pallava vairi parabhava midam anubhavatu suvesham ksanamadhuna. So both of them got together. Now I started 5:30, they came to the park. Then they said they will meet 8 p.m., 9 p.m. as they met and danced Vrindavanamum, Nandakumaranum, Yavarukum, Pudu Selvamantro. They danced. Now it was 5 a.m. Krishna turned into that 9-year-old boy with caramelized popcorn. Then she took him home. Whatever happened between that 8 p.m. and morning 5 a.m. is called Gita Govindam. She takes him home. Then Yashoda said, I was about to file an FIR in the police station. Where were you? She said, no, the GPS was not working. Even Waze was not working. Somehow we spotted and came home. This is called as Gita Govindam. It is not there in Bhagavatam. Radha is not mentioned. But is it right to worship Radha? See, Krishna has lakhs of fans. Millions of fans. Why can't she be one? But in Sampradayam, if at all there is a Vivaham, proper Vivaham, as per Brahma Paddhati, it has to be with Rukmini. There is no doubt. Now, as we have discussed this beautiful Charitram, Krishna entered Mathura. Vrindavanam was very upset that they have lost their gem. One's loss is the other's gain, which is Mathura's gain. As Krishna enters, as he was walking, people were welcoming him. Royal reception committee. As he entered, he saw one lady who was Aneka Vakra or Trivakra. She had deformities in her body. She had a hunch. She couldn't even extend or raise her head up because it was a very bad hunch. So she had deformities and she was bending downwards. Her only duty was to grind the sandal paste, take it in a beautiful cup and give it to the concerned official who will give it to Kamsa. So nobody in Mathura had the audacity to say, give me that sandal paste. So while Krishna and Balarama entered, Krishna asked, Trivakra, can you give me that sandal paste? People who were witness to this thought, this lady is going to give him back. But she immediately extended the cup and said, take. And Krishna took and applied it on his chest. How did she give? Generally, she is a person who won't give. And she couldn't even raise her head to check who that person was. The commentator says, she saw the feet of Krishna. It seems she has heard in lectures that such lotus petal-like feet will exist only for Paramatma. So she thought this is her way for moksham and she gave the chandanam. Kubjam abja vilochanam pati punar drishtva angarage taya Datte sadhu kilangara gamadadastasya mahantam hridi chittastha mrudu manmatha pratayitum gatrepi tasya sphutam grindhan manjukarena tamudayan tabjam dagat sundarim. What Krishna did was he took some sandal, applied the paste on his chest, took the remaining and applied on the places where she had vakram, where there was deformity. You know, in Kerala, there is a treatment called varmam. So they will use the fingers. So he did this. She became Jagat Sundarim. Immediately she applied for that Miss World contest. She became so beautiful. Yesterday, Dwaraka Swamin was telling that devotees are asking, you have to connect Daya Shatakam with Bhagavatam. Correct? Vedanta Deshika says, Nishadanam neta kapikulapatihi kapi shabari kuchelaha kubjasa. This kubja comes in Daya Shatakam because she was recipient to Krishna's Daya. So, that said, there is another problem here, I'll tell you. In those days, there were rules. A married person alone can apply chandanam. But Krishna applied. Was he married then? Yes. I told you yesterday that he was already engaged and married to Neela Nappinai. So he applied. Because only a married man is allowed to apply chandanam, consume betel leaves. Unmarried men cannot consume. Married men can consume betel leaves, alone can consume betel leaves. Sannyasi cannot consume. So married men have some perks. So if you want to consume betel leaf, young children, those who have been refusing to their parents, get married. You can apply chandanam. Betel leaves, and married men are alone allowed to cook. So use this rule. Married men should cook. Shastram says. You know, Vedanta Deshika comes in the lineage of a great acharya called Kidambi Achan. Kidambi Achan was the grand cook to Ramanuja. Vedanta Deshika says, Madappalli vanda manam. We all come in the lineage of the cook. Only a person with primitive knowledge will look down upon cooking. Samikrara. We all come in the lineage of the cook. Madappalli vanda manam. That said, Krishna then prostrated before Shiva Dhanus. And that is when the huge elephant called Kuvalaya Peetham came. Kuvalaya Peetham came, and that was injected. Some drugs were given to that elephant, and that elephant got mad and it came and attacked Krishna. See, if you see some of the Chalachitrams, the hero will come, suddenly one water lorry will come in the middle. So Kamsa had put all of this checks for Krishna. So two WWF champions came, Mushtika and Chanura. Elephant, Mushtika, Chanura, they all came. Mushtika, Shura, Chanura, Malla, Malla, Visharada, Kuvalaya, Pita, Mardana, Kalinga, Nartana, Gokula, Rakshana, Sakala, Surakshana, Deva, Sishta, Janapala, Sankalpa, Kalpa, Kalpa, Shatakoti, Asama, Parabhava, Dhira, Munijana, Vihara, Madana, Sukumar, Daitya Samhara, Deva, Madhura, Madhura, Rati, Sarasa, Sasa, Vraja, Yuvati, Janamanasa, Pujita, Swagatam, Krishna. They welcomed him. Then Krishna reached the arena where Kamsa was seated. Kamsa ordered that Krishna should be killed. By then Krishna jumped and threw Kamsa off. That's all. Generally, you know, in Amar Chitra Katha, they'll say, to kill Kamsa, the Lord was born. Hey, he's a firefly. You don't need to take so much of efforts. Krishna was born to deliver Bhagavad Gita. Not for killing Kamsa, Dhenuka, for this cutting Ravi, soda bottle, Segar, Kabali and all. He doesn't have to come. He can send Vijay Kumar IPS. Anybody he can send and kill. So, now there is a beauty here. I have to tell about my Alvar. Thirumangai Alvar says, I don't know if you have heard of this Alvar's name. Thirumangai Alvar, strongest of the Alvars. He used to go on a horse. The horse was called, can anybody tell the name of the horse of Thirumangai Alvar? Very good. Adalma. He gave 6 prabandhams. Periya Tirumozhi, Periya Tirumadal, Shiriya Tirumadal, Tiruvalukuttirukkai, Tirunedunthondagam, Tirukkurunthondagam. Beautiful prabandhams. You will get lost. In one of the prabandhams, while celebrating our Pachu is Parthasarathi of triplicate. While celebrating our Pachu, he says, Virpena Vilavum, Kanjanum, Mallum Velamum Pavum Suri Seida. So he talks about Krishna Avataram. He says, Virpena Vilavu, Kanjan, Mal. So Krishna was the one who vanquished Kuvalaya Peetham, the elephant. Kanjanum, Kanjan is Kamsa. Mallum, Mal means Malyuddha Veera, who is Mushtika Chanura. So he managed to kill Kuvalaya Peetha, Kamsa and Mushtika Chanura. This is what Alvar says. But if we read Bhagavatam, it didn't happen in this order. Kuvalaya Peetham, Mushtika Chanura and Kamsa. So the question was asked. In those days, Tamil Nadu had such great people who used to read the original book. Then they used to ask, Bhagavatam says the order is Kuvalaya Peetham, Mushtika Chanura and Kamsa. Whereas Alvar says Kuvalaya Peetham, Kamsa and Mushtika Chanura. Why has he changed the order? Edo Matirkar sir, Udungo sir. No. For which Vedanta Deshika gives a beautiful option. He says, let's say I go to some house, they have invited me for food, and they lay a huge banana leaf, and they start, there are 2-3 paddhatis in this. In Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam, we put the hot rice first and little ghee, and we have to do pariseshanam only to that. Whereas in Smartha Sampradayam, you have to put all the dishes and do Pariseshanam. The first reason for Sri Vaishnavas to do that is Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva. For the Vaishwanara, you have to offer food which is not mixed with salt. So you have to give him ghee. Whereas Smartha Sampradayam says everything is going to go to the Lord. Why can't we offer everything? Both are right. Ultimately, we are going to eat. Moral of the story. So, as this Pariseshanam is done, then they will start putting one dish after the other. And especially if you go to marriages, those people who serve are very smart. Tuck, tuck, tuck. By the time you wink and open your eye, there will be 21 dishes. 1 second, 21 dishes will be there. And if you don't finish in 5 minutes, they will take the leaf and go. Generally, I avoid eating in marriages, but if I go for lectures, I keep traveling, then they will say, please eat. We have to honor the guests. I go sit. One very well-known mama to me sat next to me. And both of us were eating, and mama's value was 9.5. HbA1c. So, after the Korambu, what is Korambu? Sambar. Sambar, sir. See, sambar is not the original South Indian word. Marathas ruled Tanjavur for a very long time after the fall of the Nayakas. Chhatrapati Shivaji's Maharaj, son, called Sambhaji Maharaj, while he grew up in Maharashtra, they had made a powder for him. And he always used to take that powder mixed with kokum water. Kokum is like tamarind in Maharashtra. So they used to make this concoction, only then he will eat. When he came down to the south for some expedition, this powder was carried. But they didn't get kokum. That is when the locals in Tamil Nadu said, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe something similar to that taste is our tamarind. And the tamarind paste was given, and with that powder it was made. Since Sambhaji Maharaj liked it, that concoction was called sambar. So it was originally not a south. Now if you go to Sambhaji Nagar, Aurangabad, they won't know sambar. For example, they say Chinese won't know gobi Manchurian. And the Mari. So here it came. Now, in Tamil it is called Korambu. So in the first they laid Korambu. Mama and I had. Mama was discussing it and it was very good. We had. Next came Rasam, which is Saru. Kannadadalli Saru anta heltivi. Rasam, which is Shatramudu. We Vaishnavas will have our own dictionary. So Shatramudu came. And generally when you have rasam, there will be some stagnation of rasam after you eat that rice also. Then will come the sweet. Mama had sugar. So he wanted to take the sweet home for his grandson. So it was a big piece of Mysore pak. You can construct house with that. Big brick pieces. So he extended his hand to take that Mysore pak home. By the time he extended, that man kept that Mysore pak amidst the ocean of rasam. So, Ksheerarnavam, Morarnavam, Rasarnavam. So Mysore pak was like Narayana floating on the waters. That mama, ennappa ipdi panniyutepa? Why have you put that Mysore pak in rasam? He said, unak vendalla. He took and put it on my plate. Ahara shuddhau, sattva shuddhihi, sattva shuddhau, dhruva smritihi. This is called Bhagavata Uchchishtam. Konagam sheda shedam taruvarel punidamandre. So, one dish after the other, when something is laid on your leaf, you wouldn't know in which order it was laid. Because it was so quick in succession, a nanosecond gap, you wouldn't be able to take cognizance of what came first, what came second. So when someone calls you out after your lunch is over, after this sumptuous meal is over, he or she questions you, what did you have? You wouldn't tell in the same order. You'll say, curd, rice, rasam, adirsam, this, that. You'll tell in some order. Similarly, when Krishna entered Mathura, he vanquished Kuvalaya Pita, Mushtika Chanura and Kamsa not in 3 days. He vanquished all of them in so quickly that the Alvar forgot which one was the first and which one was the second, says Vedanta Deshika. Now, after this, Krishna goes to the jail premises. He has to first release his parents. Look at this state. He has to go and introduce himself. Had it been this day, she would have at least got some WhatsApp messages. She would have at least paid the bodyguard there. And she would have got his phone. In jail, all that will happen. Our Suresh in Delhi knows that. So you can get the phone and you can give. But she had no access. Now Krishna comes and introduces, Mate, I am your son. To which Uvacha pitara vetya sagrajaha satvarshabaha prashrayavanatah prinan ambatateti sadaram. Ambatateti, he said, Mata, Pita, mother, father, mummy, daddy. She said, I'm still living, why are you calling me mummy? Bharanya sashvayuktena bhavavega pradhavina manorathena gantavyaha sarathischa bhavan satam. Vasudeva praises Krishna. Now, Devaki is an Indian mom. What will Indian mom do? What have you studied? Correct? Indian moms, do you agree or not? Alongside, if you have to be a super Indian mom, avan evlo vangina. Correct? Yes or no? See? So Devaki, Indian mom, she asked, what have you studied? Krishna, studied? What is that? School, beta. There is no school in Vrindavanam. Don't you know even to write? Fingerprint. Then she thought, oh my goodness, this is not the way my son has to study. They were not even out of the jail premises. She said, Vasudeva, first check, which is the closest school? Closest school, they said, we want TC certificate from the previous school. Where is the previous school? Only one option was available through that, the analytics does. Whatever you search, it will throw those ads. So one ad was thrown. Sandipani tutelage, 64 days, 99 only. That was available in a city called as Ujjain. The earlier name was Avantika. Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika. Purim, Dwaravati chaiva saptaide mokshadayakaha. Ujjain is very important in our literature because Kalidasa used to write all his works from Ujjain. Even his Meghadutam, where the Yaksha sends those clouds to his wife. He sends from this place, and then there is Ram taken other places. So Ujjain is very important. It is also important in our standard time procedure. See, we have had great poets. I keep telling people. One is a religious angle to our text. That we cannot deny. Bhagavatam, Ramayanam has bhakti, moksha shastram in it. But if you largely don't believe, some people take the pride, I'm somehow very spiritual, but not religious. I don't know what it means. See, it is like telling, I want to go to Frisco, but I won't move from my place. Suppose you are in Plano. You have to go to Frisco. What should you do? You should take a means of transport. Either you should take your car, or you should carpool, or call the Uber, or you have to walk, bike. You have to do something. You are not choosing any means of transport. Neither are you walking. You want to stay in one place. I want to go to Frisco. Similar to that is, I am spiritual but not religious. How can you reach the destination? Because in spirituality, you are aiming for something to become better. Without the aid of text, how will you do? No, I see in the form of light. They are all great people. I can't see light. I can see only Krishna. Here, Kalidasa uses beautiful phrases. Many occasions in Shakuntalam, Vikramurvashiyam, Malavikaagnimitram, Kumarasambhavam, you will fall in love with Kalidasa. That is why in those days it used to be a saying. If at all somebody asks you, who are the best poets in Sanskritam, and you say Kalidasa, who are the other poets? Other poets. Bhasa, Bhartrihari, Bharavi, very good. So these are all the other poets, very good poets. But the norm in those days was, if you count Kalidasa in this finger, in this hand, you should count the other poets in this hand, it seems. The other poets cannot come on the same palm as where Kalidasa is. He was a nulli secundus. So that great a poet Kalidasa was. See, I'll just give you one or two instances, though I've got little time. In Abhignana Shakuntalam, Dushyanta comes to the forest. Father Kanva Maharshi is not there. He falls in love with Shakuntala. Shakuntala also falls in love with Dushyanta. They meet and they have some nice memories, and then he leaves. He's called in the Sabha Mantapam. He gives his ring and he goes. She is always thinking about Dushyanta. Her friends Priyamvada and Anasuya are in a nearby temple. That day, incidentally, Durvasa Maharshi comes. Bhoho, ayam bhoho, I have come. She is lost in thoughts. She is always thinking of Dushyanta. He comes closer. Ayam bhoho. She doesn't reply. Now he pronounces a curse on her. He says, you are lost in your thoughts of a man. I now curse that man will lose memory of you. Complicated. Huh? He will forget you. Whom you are thinking, that person will forget you. Like how? See, he's a poet. See, remember, they are giving us a natakam combined with poetry. In poetry, you have to keep giving examples. You cannot just say, okay, he will forget you. Then nobody will read our book. If you write like this, Avan Bandan, Aval Sirital, Iravarum Sendrargal, only Maniratnam will take like this. Ye. Whereas Kalidasa cannot write like this. So he says, he will forget you. Like how? Katham pramattaha prathamam kritamiva. Just 3 words. Katham pramattaha prathamam kritamiva. Like a person who drinks the previous night, and while drinking he will make some promises. Next day morning he will have no memory of those promises. Like that he will forget you, he says. Look at the simile. Katham pramattaha prathamam kritamiva. From this, what is the moral of the story? In those days also, liquor was available. So, literature will give you so much of knowledge. You won't, see, we can't keep thinking of how the past used to be. Only when we read literature, we will know. In Lakshmi Sahasram, 600 years back in the south of India, Venkatadhwari Kavi writes about the greatness of Mahalakshmi in 1008 verses. Lakshmi Sahasram, not Sahasranamam, Sahasram, 1008 verses. He describes the tongue of Mahalakshmi. It seems it is pinkish red. How did it turn pinkish red? Like the tongue of a person who lives in Andhra Desham after consuming spicy food. He writes. In the Samskrita Shlokam, 600 years back, he says like the person in Andhra who consumes spicy food and it turns red, so is Mahalakshmi's tongue. See, I don't know what to appreciate, whether their knowledge of the neighboring state's cuisine, grandeur. When you look into these verses, you will be amazed. That said, now Krishna was told you have to go to Sandipani's ashramam. Krishna and Balarama went. See, let's take even Sangeeta Shastram, because many of you will be experts in music and you will have experts in music at home. You have to learn Sarali Varisai, Janta Varisai. Teacher will say Sari 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 Gama Sari Gama Pada Nisa Zani 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 Daba Zani Daba Magari Ni Udanga Nidla Sari 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 Gama. Practice Sarali Varisai, Janta Varisai, Tatta Varisai, Milstari Varisai, Alankaram, Geetam, Varnam, Atatala Varnam, Kirtanam, Neraval, RTP, Manodharmam. Oh, that itself will take like 10 years. Then you have to do Arangetram. Take dance, Aramandi. You have to begin, bend, straight, mudra, so many mudras of Natya Shastram. Remember the shlokas, do a padam, do a javali, do good footwork, lokya dharmi, natya dharmi. My goodness, that is another art. Let's take painting, that is another art. Tarka Shastram, take years. Mimamsa, years together. So each of it is an art form. But Krishna and Balarama mastered 64 arts in 64 days. Kaisa ho sakta hai? He says, Gatva Sandipanim Atha Chatushashti Ratrim Ahobihi. Chatushashti Ratrim Ahobihi. Day and night, Ratrim Ahobihi, Chatushashti. 64. How did they learn? It's $1 million question, right? Have they studied before? No. They have never been to a school. 64 days, 64 arts over. They got 64 certificates. In LinkedIn, they put what all certificates they got. 64 certificates. How? Sarvajnastvam sahamusalina. Because they have not come here to acquire knowledge. They are already pre-fed data in their mind. They have come only to revise. See, at times if you buy pen drive, you will have empty pen drive. Sometimes pen drive, if they come through corporate, they will come with the pre-fed data in it. They are pre-fed data pen drives. There's already data in it. Sarvajnastvam, they know everything. Sir, is it possible for one person to be born to be omniscient? I will give you an example, a very close example of the last century. Undoubtedly, one of the acharyas who walked the planet in the last century was Chandrasekharendra Saraswati or Paramacharya. He lived close to 100 years, just fell short of a few months. And most of those 100 years he lived like a sannyasi, because he turned sannyasi at a very young age. And Paramacharya had done 3 Padayatras. Everything was a Padayatra. Asetu Himachalam. But he didn't create a big halabaloo about it, because if people walk across Bharatam, now there's so much of news. They are walking from here, they are walking from there. Paramacharya made no such noise. So he walked across the country. But he became a sannyasi at a very young age. I don't remember, maybe 8 or 9. So after he became a sannyasi, he had to undergo Vedadhyanam. See, it is not as if a learned person is coming to the Peetham. You have to come to the Peetham and then learn. So the Matha officials took him to a close by village called as Mahendra Mangalam near Mushiri, near Trichy. Kaveri river will flow. Why did they choose Mahendra Mangalam? Because the breadth of Kaveri, it is wide there. So when the river is wide, people will not come very often. They have to use boats and come. So they chose this place. And after Vedadhyayanam, Paramacharya had to undergo Veda Bhashyam, know the essence of the Vedas. So one age-old teacher, very old teacher, was deployed to teach Paramacharya the essence of Veda Bhashyam. So Paramacharya, while being a sannyasi, he used to take one stick and was playing on the sands of Kaveri. And the teacher had to teach. The teacher found it very difficult because imagine your students so very distracting, playing on the sands of Kaveri. But the teacher had a problem. He couldn't shout at him because he's a Peethadipati. Very tough situation. So one day the teacher couldn't withstand the tantrums thrown by Paramacharya. He fell at his feet. He prostrated at Paramacharya, the age-old man, prostrated. Paramacharya asked, why are you paying obeisances to me? Sorry, sir, I can't teach you anymore. You seem to be very, very, very in a wavering mind. You're going somewhere, you're playing something. How can I teach you something as tough as the Veda Bhashyam for Yajurvedam? It is very tough. I can't do. That time Paramacharya, who was a little boy, asked, what portions is pending? You have to teach me more, right? What is pending? He said, there are 4 kandams that I have to teach you in Yajurvedam. Paramacharya said, I will tell you the essence of those 4 kandams now. And he said, the essence of those 4 kandams, they were not covered at all. Is this what Bhattabhaskara has said? This is what Sayana has said? The teacher again fell at his feet. He said, there's nothing more to teach you. Because Sarvajñastvam, when you are born, very select few will have that knowledge in them. They don't have to acquire. So Krishna and Balarama, Sarvajñastvam sahamusalina sarvavidya grihitva putram nashtam yamanilayanat ahritam dakshinartham. Now, after having learnt Shastram from his guru, he went and asked his guru, please give your Zel details. I will Zel Guru Dakshina. The teacher said, I am not used to asking for Dakshina. You go and ask my wife, Guru Mata. She knows what to ask. So Krishna went and asked Guru Mata, Mata, please give your account details. I will ask my father. Immediately you will get the amount. No pending, we will send you. She said, I don't want money. Then what do you want? My children are dead. Go get them from Yamalokam. Vedanta says technically not possible. Once they are dead, they are dead. You cannot say after 10 days, 15 days, they have come back again. See, imagine you have spent a lot of money to do the 10th day, 11th day rituals and 12th day ritual. Ella mudichido happa. Adha yaro thatra. Ayyo, avaru thirumbi vanduttar. And those priests will not give that money back. So there's a problem here. So, here, Krishna said, don't worry, Yamanilayanath, I will go and get them. So Krishna's way, yen vadi tani vadi. Putram nashtam yamanilayanad akhritam dakshinartham datva tasmai nijapuram agaradayan panchajanyam. That said, next is Rukmini Kalyanam. But I told you, I won't tell that now. Paste end. Now, you have to assume that Krishna is married to Rukmini. Okay? Krishna's marriage is over. In that, after that comes the next charitram. The next charitram. Asit. So in Dwaraka, I have to tell one more charitram before this. See, there are too many things here. Before this, there is another charitram. Krishna, who happened to live in Mathura, had vanquished Kamsa. Kamsa's wives were the daughters of Jarasandha, Magadha Desham, Bihar. Jarasandha got terribly angry and he attacked Mathura. Krishna and Balarama resisted the attempts of Jarasandha 17 times. But Krishna thought, let the glory of vanquishing Jarasandha in the battle go to my cousin Bhima. And again something where we cannot imagine happened. 18th time, Jarasandha sought foreign intervention in Indian politics. So he went to Greece. Greece is called Yavana Desham. So he sought the intervention of a Yavana, a Greek, who was akin to the god of death. Very tyrant. So he was called Kala Yavana. Kala Yavana had a coalition with Jarasandha, and as allies they went and attacked. That is when Krishna resisted, and the previous night he bought an island off the coast of Gujarat. And using Vishwakarma constructed a beautiful city. That city was called Dwaraka. Prabhuta Ratnadyuti Kesaram Tat Pravala Patraugha Parita Parshvam Sthane Harerishta Tamam Tadasit Sambhuti Rajivam Iva Indirayaha, says the beautiful poet. He says how Dwaraka was looking from the top. See, now with drone camera you can take the top shot, right? How was Dwaraka looking? It looked like the seat of lotus of Mahalakshmi, Indirayaha. See, Indira is Mahalakshmi. Indra is Indrapatni. So Indirayaha, like Indira's seat, lotus, it looked. Why? Because the coral reefs around the island in the night with the glow looked like the petals of a lotus. The gem-studded mansions in the city looked like the stamens of a flower. So overall it looked like a beautiful island, beautiful city. And that night, through his yoga shakti, again I'm telling you, this is all beyond our logical understanding. One night, yoga shakti, while all the people, residents of Mathura were sleeping, Krishna transported them to Dwaraka. So next morning when the Uttar Pradesh people woke up, the women were surprised. Sari which was like this became like this. They wanted to ask the other person, Kaise ho? But when they opened their mouth, Kem cho? What has happened? So the entire culture changed in one night. Now Krishna was fighting Jarasandha and Kala Yavana. Suddenly he stopped fighting. He jumped from his chariot and started running. Kala Yavana was confused. Who is this man, Jarasandha? He's running. Don't trust this man. He will do anything. So Kala Yavana started chasing him. As he started chasing, they crossed Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, reached the Raivataka Parvatam south of Ahmedabad in Gujarat, and Krishna went into the cave. Kala Yavana, who followed, saw Krishna's Uttariyam and saw Krishna sleeping. He kicked him. You made me run so many thousand kilometers and you're sleeping here. Get up! So that Uttariyam got down and he woke up and was surprised to see it was not Krishna, some other man with beard. That man was in slumber. Since he was disturbed, he opened his eyes, and as he opened, Kala Yavana turned into a heap of ashes. Slowly, Krishna comes out. Now, this person was surprised. See, imagine you are waking up from your bed. You are looking at somebody and they turn into ashes. How did this man turn into ashes? What is happening? Then Krishna said, Hello, Muchukunda. You are from the Ikshvaku dynasty. You were blessed to have good sleep. And the appendix portion to your boon was, whoever disturbs you in your sleep, if you wake up, you will turn them into ashes. I optimized these 2 points. I brought him here and got him killed by you so that I don't have another FIR on me. So then Muchukunda does a stuti. It is called Muchukunda stuti. Next comes another charitram. The other charitram is, the question asked was, Etastena pritaf purvam sakatham vijaganatam etad vistarata shrotum ichhami sakalam guru. The question was, I would love to know about the person who was kidnapped, and the one who was kidnapped killed the person who kidnapped him. This was the question. What is it? Rukmini and Krishna, after their marriage, they had a son. While he was just 6 days old and was lying on the cradle, he was abducted. This boy was called Pradyumna. Pradyumna was abducted and thrown to the nearby waters. The beauty is, as the baby was thrown, a fish caught the boy in its mouth. As the fish caught the boy in its mouth, the fish was caught by the fisherman. As the fisherman took the fish to the chef's table and cut it open, he saw the baby still managing to breathe. And this boy was so resplendent, and this boy was taken care by the fisherman's daughter. Her name was Mayavati. Not the one with that elephant statue. Gentle Mayavati. Namama rajadasyapi jataragni pradipitaha. Eventually this lady fell in love with Pradyumna, and then she mentioned the person who kidnapped you was Shambharasura, go kill him. Pradyumna kills Shambharasura, comes home. Now after so many years, he was kidnapped while he was 6 days old. After so many years, he is returning home with the daughter-in-law. Look at Rukmini's state. She didn't enjoy his boyhood, adolescence, nothing. When he comes with her. That was their family tradition. So he comes with the daughter-in-law. Now, after Rukmini's son's marriage, now we are again going to go to Krishna's marriage. See, if again and again you will get this Krishna's marriage in Bhagavatam. I'm sure those of you elderly people know here. In those days, the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law used to be pregnant together. Have you heard? So that is the case here. Asit satrajita suryo bhaktasya paramasakha pritastasmai manim pradat suryastustasya mantakam. See, the lower part of Kashmir, some parts of Himachal, Punjab, large parts of Pakistan, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, upper part of Maharashtra, Bihar, and lower part of Uttar Pradesh, they all fall under the Tropic of Cancer belt. So they are either above or below the Tropic of Cancer. So at that angle, Surya Shakti is more. Generally you will have sun throughout the year. Since it was the belt where sun's rays were prominent, sun worship, Shauram it is called. Shauram was very prominent. That is why that region itself was called Shaurashtra. Shauram. Shaura is there, sun worship. Multan, I don't know if you have heard of this place. Multan in Pakistan has been mentioned by the traveler called Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni traveled in the 10th and the 11th centuries from Uzbek. Uzbekistan is a Central Asian country. He was an Uzbek. He traveled to Bharatadesham because Bharatadesham was like the exchange programs. You would come there to learn more. So you can even check, you will get those translations in English of Al-Biruni's account of India. Please buy them and read how India was in 10th century. That time he says he saw a temple of sun god. He mentions this. By the banks of river Chandrabhaga, and that place was called Moolasthanam. Moolastan became Multan. So in this Moolasthanam he mentions of a beautiful sun temple. Very vivid description he gives. He talks about the Garbhagraham. Please check that. He says that the Moola Vigraham was not fixed. It used to be floating in air. Because of magnets placed in different directions, through the magnetic force it was held in the middle. And then that idol made in gold had eyes of ruby. He makes clear mention. Check that out. Al-Biruni. Because if Seshachari Mama or Subramanya Mama says, we'll say Brahminical patriarchy. Al-Biruni says. So if Al-Biruni says, it is Shruyate Vyasavakyam. So, now, this was the belt. That is why you have Modhera, a sun temple. You have Konark, Martanda Surya temple, Dev temple. It's very important. That is why Surya is very important for us. When I go to Seattle, first thing my host will give is vitamin D tablet. Take this because vitamin D is important. So that is why Surya Murte, I don't know how many of you know this. Surya Murte Namo Stute Sundare Chayadhipayate. You should listen to the Varakritis of Muthuswami Dikshitar. Beautiful it will be. How many of you are Simharasi here? Simharashyadhipate. So people who have Simharashi are blessed by Surya. They will never have deficiency of vitamin D. Simharashi. How many of you are Meena Rashi? We are all blessed with Brihaspati. Brihaspati, Tarapati. Beautiful. Well, the point is, Satrajit in Dwaraka was a big businessman. Why? Because he worshipped Surya, and while mining, he got a stone. It was called Syamantakam. And in his Aradhana Kramam, he used to keep that Syamantakam and used to do Archana. The more he did Archana to Syamantakamani, the more wealth he would gather. He would check his stocks. It used to go upwards, not southwards. He was very bullish about it and not Jambavan about it. Correct? Jambavan is bearish. You should not be bearish. You should always be bullish, rishabish about it. So he used to get good wealth. Asit satrajita suryo bhaktasya paramasakha pritastasmai manim pradat suryastushtasya mantakam. That is when Krishna one day noticed that Satrajit's personal wealth had surpassed the government's wealth. He said, then give the stone to us. He put it on Dwaraka government facsimile and said, thereby we ask you. He signed with the trustees. He said, please give it. Satrajit called for a press conference and said, Krishna has asked for the stone. I will not give. Press conference over. Next day morning, Syamantakam was lost. It went missing. So what will be the accusation? Krishna chor hai. Krishna has taken. Krishna now thought, when I used to steal butter, people used to wait for me to steal and used to defend saying that he didn't steal. When I'm not stealing, they are saying that I have stolen. So he wanted to get rid of the accusation, went to the forest, saw a dead horse. Next to it was dying a dead person who happened to be Satrajit's brother. So Satrajit's brother had stolen the stone and seated on a horse while he was coming. Looking at the both carrying the stone from a distance, a lion thought it was a piece of meat and killed the both. Then while the lion was holding the piece of stone, thinking it was meat, somebody killed the lion and took the stone away. Krishna followed the path, went into a cave. He saw a beautiful woman holding that stone. He said, please give it to me. No, Papa! The girl cried. Jambavan came. Who is Jambavan? T. Rajendra. Bear, I said. Jambavan. So he came. And the bear, now you may wonder, how will bear have a human daughter? See, like how we humans adopt animals, in those days, animals used to adopt humans. Clear though? So, next to that honest, I saw this store, pet saloon. So, similarly, here, Jambavan started fighting. The bear started fighting with Krishna. Yasyeshad utkalitora rosha katakshamokshayir vatma dishat kshubhi tanakrati mingalobdhihi setukrita swayasha ujjvalita chalanka rakshashiramsi bhuvi petu rikshutani. Then the bear realized that this should not be a normal person who's having a duel with me. It must be Rama who constructed Setu, and indicates through its body language, take the stone and Jambavati with you. So Krishna brought the stone and Jambavati home, gave that stone, showed it to the media and said, I have not taken, I am giving it to Satrajit. Satrajit said, wait Krishna, I feel very bad that I shouldn't have done this to you. I shouldn't have accused you and I should have given the stone to you. Please take the stone and take my daughter also. Krishna, many people in the middle used to buy Peter England shirts. You know why? They will get that bag. Similarly, Jita hito jambavati nishevitaha Satatra satradita satkrite manau swachaurya durva mama jajayat swayam na vidyate yasya na kinchidanvapi. So Satyabhama Jambavati Parinayam is over. One day, our dear Narada Maharishi, he came with a beautiful flower called Parijatam. Like how you can sense the sound and the drizzle that comes from the Niagara Falls from a distance. Parijata Pushpam is you can smell from a distance. I don't know how many of you have visited Bangalore of the yesterdays when we used to have trees. In Malleshwaram, there is a road called Sampige Road. Kelidira Sampige Road anta? So, once upon a time, it used to be infested with trees of Sampige. Champaka Pushpam in Sanskritam. நம்ம சம்பகம்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா? என்ன சாமந்தியா என்ன சொல்லுவோம் அது தமிழ் என்ன? மஞ்ச ஷெண்பகம். ஷெண்பகம். So it's called Sampige. Very good smell. Even if you have that flower for about 4-5 days in your house, it will smell very good. But I am not sure how the Sampige is in the US, because in Bay Area they said, Swami, we have bought some mangoes for you. I kept that mango inside my nose. Even then it didn't smell. உள்ள போட்டுட்டேன். ஒருவேளை ஞானப்பழமா இருக்குமோ என்னமோ. Now, so this flower, Parijata Pushpam, used to smell so good. It was an exquisite flower. You have to own it. So Narada Maharishi got this Pushpam. Adyana Vadya Charita Vrata Paranayam Tvat Sannidhim Nidhimivahara Samihe Tvam Swam Manorathamivata Sabhajayami Pativratir Jagati Yena Sabhajayami. This is from a champu called Parijata Harana Champu by Shesha Krishna Kavi. So Narada got that Pushpam and said, Sir, I don't have a permanent place of residence. I am a nomad. What will I do with this Pushpam? He came to Dwaraka. He inquired from the receptionist, Krishna, kidhar hai? Krishna kidhar che? So the receptionist said, he is in 301 che. So Narada went and knocked the door. Rukmini Devi said, please come Naradji, virajiye, tashrif rakhiye. Please sit, farmaiye. That is when Narada said, Krishna, very happy to see you and Rukmini together. I got this Parijata Pushpam, Krishna, what will I do with it? I thought I'll give it to you. You give it to the one whom you love the most. Rukmini was standing. She was just looking at Krishna, what he's going to do. Krishna played it safe. Ruku, take it. Rukmini took. Deal done. Narada didn't stop there. He went to 302. Satyabhama opened. Naradji, aye. Narada came with a melancholic face. He came and sat. Kya hua? Kaise hua? Kyun? What happened? Narada said, Satyabhama, I brought this beautiful, exquisite Parijata Pushpa. I presented to Krishna. I told him, give it to someone whom you love the most. I was assuming he's going to give it to you. But he gave it to Rukmini. Pochu. Now, Satyabhama said, I don't want the flower. I want the tree. Meanwhile, Indra came and told Krishna, see, last week my mother lost her studs. Blue jacket diamond studs. Kairasi Gopal Das studs. Varuna lost his umbrella. Mani Parvatam lost its shikharam. When we looked into the CCTV camera footage, we found that the king of Pragjyotishapuram called Naraka has stolen. Please retrieve them for me, because Indra was a very good speaker, but he can't fight. So he said, Krishna, you help. Krishna checked how to go to that place and he said, my driver is absent today. Satyabhama said, I will drive for you. Rukmini doesn't have the license, I have it, come with me. And both of them sat on Garuda. Now I will tell you what my hero Vedanta Deshika says about it. He says, Yathaswam nagaradvare yadava danavaschatam Tarasvi Garudarudham Satyamaikshanta Tatshanam. Look at this beauty. Krishna and Satyabhama sat on Garuda and that flew. Sir, can somebody sit on the bird and can they fly? What is that? Hippogriff. What is that bird? Hippogriff. That flies, right? Broom also flies in Harry Potter. Forget the bird. That we all watch. Now, as it started from Dwaraka, the inhabitants of Dwaraka said Tata, bye. When they bid farewell to Krishna and Satyabhama, look at Deshika's imagination. When they said farewell, bid farewell to Krishna and Satyabhama in Dwaraka, the inhabitants of Pragjyotishapuram welcomed Krishna and Satyabhama. You able to understand? Which means the speed of Garuda was so high. As they left here, they arrived there. So that is why the inhabitants who bid farewell and those who welcomed them did at the same time. Now, as he reaches Pragjyotishapuram, now there is another problem here. Some historians say Pragjyotishapuram is Assam. If you know Indian map, Gujarat, Assam on the other side. But some research scholars have found out that Pragjyotishapuram is the current day Thailand. Because in some of the 15th, 16th century maps available, Thailand territory is marked as Dwaravati. One. Second thing, Pragjyotishapuram, the city where Pragjyotisha, where fire keeps burning. Which means in active volcanoes, there will always be fire. There are 3 active volcanoes in Thailand. So Pragjyotisha, Jyoti is always there. And when what was lost, Aditi's gems. Wherever volcanic eruption happens, gems will be thrown out. When gems are thrown out, the close by people will get employed in gem cutting. Thailand and Myanmar is famous for gem cutting. That is why the gem cutting profession also visited Gujarat. When it came back, it came as gem cutting there. So people believe it is Dwaravati. So Naraka lived there. Now, I don't know how many of you are aware of this word. It's a vice, it's a crime, trafficking. So this Naraka was employed in trafficking where he would take innocent women and put them into jail and abuse them. There were many such women. You find in many countries, the police forces go and retrieve those women who are recipients or probably those victims of the trafficking. Krishna vanquishes Naraka in a battle. See, I don't generally get into this battle mode. Puranas will give about 20 shlokas, what astram he left, there was fire, all this animation and all, you can see it later. I'm sure in those days, 1960s Telugu movies, N.T. Ramarao will come as Rama and stand. And Ranga Rao will be on the other side. We will expect some big fireworks to happen. N.T. Ramarao will start singing in Kedaragoulam. Oh Ravana! On the battlefield. He will do a Neraval Swaram. And then Ranga Rao will reply in Mohana Ragam. Sir, yappa sir, Sanda podva. And they used to be standing so close. Here one person, the other person. They will shoot arrow. The arrow will go for 5 minutes. Yenga pointe irukadu. See, technically in Yuddham, I'll just tell one point and then go back to the story. Your eyesight should be very good. You have to be super intelligent. See, we think cricket is just a game. You have to be exceedingly intelligent to play cricket because you should know where the ball will come, how backwards to go if you have to catch. Everything is calculation. You should not tumble. You should keep looking at the ball and you should go backwards and you should know where it will exactly come. And you should know how to catch and lower your hands to reduce the pain. Everything is calculation. Nothing is easy in life. In Tamil Nadu, they will make fun of people who give discourses. In our political person, Kada solrar. Yes. We are telling stories, we are narrating. Āழி மழை கண்ணா ஒன்று நீ கை கரவேல் ஆழியுள் புக்கு முகந்து கொடாய் தேரி ஊழி முதல்வன் உருவம் போல் மெய்கருத்து பாழி தோளுடைய பற்பனாபன் கையில் ஆழி போல் மின்னி வலம்புரி போல் நின்று அதிர்ந்து தாழாதே சார்ங்க முதைத்த சரமழை போல் வாழ உலகினில் பெய்திடாய் நாங்களும் மார்கழி 11 ras. Ask them to tell. First la damage. இன்னைக்கு ஒரே மலை. ஒரே மலையா? மலை. That is மழை. கேட்டுக்கொள்ளுங்கள். Sir, I won't kill you. I did not say கேட்டுக்கொள்ளுங்கள். அது கொள் நாக்க. So Puram tavat pragjyotishamakuruthaha shonitapuram. So Krishna happened to vanquish. That is why in those days I was telling about the Yuddham, right? 2 people will be standing at distance, meters away, 400, 500 meters away. Like a pilot who requires good eyesight, you need good eyesight because you have to check what the other person is doing. Somebody has to raise the arrow first. How will you know what astram the person is aiming? He will take the arrow, he will recite the mantram of that devata. Agneya astra means Agni mantra. So you have to be 500 meters away, and from that distance with the lip movement you should be able to gauge what mantra he is reciting and then do pratyastram. It was not easy. That is why Arjuna is the greatest. Savyasachi. He would keep both the bows and arrows ready. He will just look into that person, and he would mind read. Before the person recites the mantram, he will know what is going in that person's head and keep the pratyastram ready for that. If that person changes mind, he will have the other arrow ready. He was ambidextrous in a way. Savyasachi, and then he used to shoot. Savyasachi means Savyasachitvam. Both sides he can do. Since East India didn't have Vakaram, it will become Sabyasachi. What is he doing? Stitching. Savyasachi Arjuna used to shoot arrows. Here, Sarvasvam iva punyanam. Krishna releases all those women, trafficked women. And they say, sir, we have been abused, we have not been taken care. Who will give us security, sir? People will look down upon us. That is when Krishna says, I will give you that status of being my wife. You can stay in Dwaraka. You will get all those comforts without me having any relationship with you. Why Krishna married 16,108 wives? He gave. This is the reason. Trafficking. Now, as Krishna restored glory to Pragjyotishapuram, it is said that Naraka's son, Bhagadatta was extremely angry. He wanted to preserve his tribe, his own men. So it is said that he went westwards. From this side he went westwards. And some historians opine the place where his tribe settled, Bhagadatta's tribe settled, is Baghdad. So there is an etymological derivation to that place. Now, interestingly, this Bhagadatta helps Duryodhana in the battle later. One more question. Many of our ABCDs will be asked. You Hindus celebrate the festival of Diwali, which is meant to kill a person called Naraka. Is that right? Can you celebrate the death of some person? We are not celebrating the death. Note this point, I will tell you. Share it with your children. In Sanskritam, Naraka is a word. What is Naraka? Nrinam prapayati iti narakaha. That which helps us attain what is generally tough to attain. Asadhya sadakam. What is tough? You get it. That is called Naraka. That word Naraka means that Nrinam prapayati iti narakaha. So, even though every water body in Sanatana Dharma has its own significance, like you have Mississippi, Colorado, they are all good rivers, they are all holy, good. There is Kaveri, there is Godavari, Narmada, Tapti, Mahanadi, Agastya, Brahmaputra, Yamuna, Sindhu. Every river has its own significance. But at the end of the day, it is Ganga who takes all the glory. Whatever said and done, we can't help. Kaveri has glory. There is no doubt. Dugdhabir Janako Jananyahamiyam Shrireva Putri Varaha Srirangeshwarame Tadarhamiha Kim Kurvamiti Vakula Chanchacha Marachandra Chandana Mahamanikkya Muktotkaran Kaveri Lahari Karai Vidadati Devasahaiva Shriya. Kaveri is great. When I look at Kaveri and my Ranganatha, nothing can match my Ranganatha. But Ganga has its glory, no doubt. But every human being living on this planet cannot live by the banks of river Ganga. So what do? That is why Shastram says, on one particular Amavasya, Ama means dark, Amavasya, on the new moon night. So you have one new moon every month. Roughly every month, don't tell me 27 days, 28 days, roughly 1 month. Calculation 30.01. Some you get one Amavasya a month. The Amavasya where Pitrupaksham happens is called Mahalayam. The next Amavasya from Mahalayam will be Deepavali. That is the general calculation, because your Mahalayam and 8 days becomes Navaratri. By the time you finish your big Golu schedule, then you have to start with the Bhakshanam schedule, because Deepavali will come. Next Amavasya is Deepavali. The rishis have opined, Apastamba, Bodhayana, that on that Amavasya, that particular Amavasya, Ganga, who is so holy, who is elsewhere, that day morning alone, she will reach our red color plastic bucket. Wherever we are taking bathtub, wherever you are, it is believed those waters turn Ganga that particular day, morning. So that is why it is called Ganga Snanam. Morning they will ask Ganga Snanam Acha. Ne, Ganga Snaname Romanal Acha. So Ganga Snanam. Since Ganga, who is so holy yet unattainable, comes on that day to our house, it is called Naraka. This day was existing even before Naraka's death. Remember, even before Naraka's death, Deepavali was there. Through this Ganga Snanam ritual, what got added after Naraka's death was, see, all these trafficked women in the jail who were abused had never seen light, which means they never saw happiness. The only way to symbolically tell them that you will have a nice life was to light lamps. See, there is symbolism. If the scepter, the Sengol is kept in the parliament, will Sengol have brains? One person asked, will Sengol have brains? Does a person who's asking have brains? That itself is a big question. Right? Symbolism. So, here they wanted to symbolically show that the women will see happiness in their life, glory in their life, gay in their life. How will you show that happiness? Light lamps. That is why lamps were lit in one row. Row in Sanskritam, a row is called Avali. Since Deepam was lit, Deepasya Avali iti Deepavali, row. Suddenly the Deepavali has become Diwali. I am telling what Sanskritam says. It is called Deepavali in Sanskritam. Diwali doesn't have a vyutpatti. Divi bhuvicha samidham deepa rupena rudais tribhuvana vibhananam ankuraihi ekarupaihi janita nigama sakhyam danavinam vilapair narakavadhadinam tannatha pujarhamasit. See, the country will be celebrating, but we will have some great jnanis in Tamil Nadu. நாங்கள் தமிழர்கள் தீபாவளி கொண்டாடுவதில்லை. எங்களுக்கு தீபாவளி என்பது ஒன்று இல்லை. See, I don't know where to go strike my head against. I've literally translated. There is a 10th century inscription in the Srirangam temple that on that day of Amavasya, the Chola king used to patronize that event, and it was called Deepotsavam in Srirangam. Chola king in Srirangam in Tamil Nadu, 10th century inscription, used to give money for Deepavali. 2nd century work of Nagananda and all of that suggests how Deepavali used to be celebrated in the north of India. Our own jnanis, they have no knowledge of the scriptures. Suddenly they'll say something. So my request to all my friends here in Dallas, wherever I go, I say, do not be carried away by the WhatsApp messages. No, if our knowledge is weak, easily the foundation can be shaken. What he says, right? Basement weak, building strong. If that basement is weak, this problem will happen. So Deepavali has been celebrated. Interestingly, since the person who was killed that day happened to be Naraka, it is also called Narakavada Dinam. We are not celebrating the death of some person. We are not sadists. That is a day when Ganga Snanam happens. Naraka also died. Right. Now, this is Deepavali. Next, I have to go. Now, after all these properties were given to Indra, Satyabhama asked, Indrani, can I just take that Parijata Pushpam from your backyard? They have fought for them. Indrani said, no, sorry. I don't part with any of my possessions. I'm very sorry. Said Indrani to Satyabhama. Garuda got angry. These two people have come and restored the wealth for you. With his beaks, he plucked the entire tree. Alva says, Yennadan Devikku innappu iyadal tannadan kanave tanpu marathinai. Yennadan Devikku innappu iyadal tannadan kanave. Garuda took the tree and planted the tree. See, we say, right, planting trees. You cannot plant tree, you can plant only a sapling. But in those days itself, planting a tree with that little mud, he took earth from that place because you need the same atmosphere. He planted in the backyard of 302. Be very careful. Satyabhama's backyard. But the greatness of the tree, whenever you plant it closer to the boundary, all the flowers used to fall in the backyard of Rukmini. See, we live in a gated community in Bangalore. Morning 5 o'clock, many couples will walk. Dampati. They will look like Rama and Sita with a bag. Why? As they walk, wherever they find flowers from other houses, they will pluck. And they will do Archana. Trivikrama Yanamaha, Vamana Yanamaha, Samipa Griha Vriksha Pushpave Namaha. So, this is that Charitram. Pradyumna had a son called Aniruddha. During his times, there was another Asura called Bana who had a daughter called Usha. Usha was her name. She never used to stitch though. So, this Usha, she offered her obeisances to Parvati. She wanted to get rid of her father. Father was not of a great character. She wanted to get rid of him and the city. So she worshipped Parvati Devi. And Parvati Devi said, don't worry, you will get married very soon. You will spot a yuva in your dreams and he will be the man of your life. She waited for that day, that night. She saw the yuva. She wanted to, dreams are very volatile. You'll forget them. Very few dreams in Sanatana Dharma are vivid and clear. One is Bharata's dream in Ayodhya Kandam, where he dreams of his father undergoing torture. Trijata's dream in Sundara Kandam, where she sees something good happening to Rama and Sita. Usha's dream in Bhagavatam. And we have the greatest of our dreams in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. We have our Andal's dream. Varanamayiram Shuravalam Sedu Narananam Binadakindranil Jedir Purana Purkudam Vaitu Puramingum Toranam Natakana Kandin Torinan Indiran Munnita தேவர் குழாமெல்லாம் வந்திருந்து எம்மை மகள் பேசி மந்திர கோடி உடுத்தீவன மாலை அந்தரி சூட்டகனா கண்டேன் தோழினான் பொறிமுதமட்டகனா கண்டேன் தோழினான் அம்மிமிதிக்கனா கண்டேன் தோழினான் குங்குமம் அப்பி குளிர் சாந்தம் மட்டித்து மங்கள வீதி வலம் செய்து மணனே அங்கமனோடு உடன் சென்ற தாரை மேல் மஞ்சனமாட்ட கனா கண்டேன் தோழி நான். She gives a vivid description of a dream. Andal, she is par excellence. No Alvar can get close to her. She is that kind of an exquisite girl. That is why we got angry in Tamil Nadu when somebody spoke about her. So, of these dreams, there is one Sanskrit work also, literature, a grantham in Sanskrit, it's called Swapna Vasavadattam. Swapna is very important. Now, Usha did not want to forget that person whom she had seen, dreamt of. So she immediately called her friend Chitralekha. Chitralekha had passed out of Urbana Champaign with a degree in forensics. So if you give her the description, she will paint in Picasso and you can take the printout. She took the printout, they went to the library, opened the Yadukula registry. They first saw the picture of Vasudeva, Krishna's father. Then came Krishna's photo, Vasudev. He's too good. The person whom I dreamt of was not as good as him. PTO. Here do they use the word PTO? If they use also, they'll make it the other OTP. Opposite. So they turned the page. Then came the photo of Pradyumna. Not him. Next page. Anirudh, same beep song. So that very moment she spotted Aniruddha, P. Aniruddha. She said, same boy, but how do I talk to him? How do I reach out to him? I don't even have his coordinates. Chitralekha said, as much as I'm good in forensics, I'm also good at kidnapping. So she went to Dwaraka, kidnapped Anirudh and brought him next. And as they rolled over, Aniruddha saw Usha saw Aniruddha, yenna parvai undan parvai. They went around the tree and they were dancing, all that kabhi kabhi, all that they did. Now the Rakshaka spotted and they told Banasura, what are you doing, you father? Your daughter is with one man. Immediately Banasura said, arrest Aniruddha. Usha said, if you're arresting me, unke saath mujhe bhi arrest kar lo. Both of them were arrested. Next day, main news headlines. Krishna's grandson arrested on IPC charges 403, 573, 403. Now, Krishna wondered, what mistake has my grandson done which I have not done? And then Krishna went along with an entire retinue and fought Banasura, did not kill him, spared 4 hands for him so that he can play Mridangam while Shiva dances, and brought our dear Usha home and Aniruddha home. So there was a party given. A party was thrown that evening and all of them had come. There was buffet there. The plate will be 1 kg, food will be half a kg, like Govardhana Giridhari you have to hold. That is buffet. Right? That is one of the indigenous ways to consume less food because you won't have the urge to go have more food. So it was served. That is when Usha and Aniruddha's marriage was celebrated. But I'll tell you, Usha and Aniruddha, see, when Krishna Avataram comes, Krishna will take center stage. Usha, Aniruddha and all will not feature. But there is one work in Prakritam, in a language called Prakritam, that talks about Usha and Aniruddha's marriage. It is called Usa Anirudham. I will read out 2 verses in this Prakrita Bhasha. Dittam mi kanne diddakoyyala pajjunayye pammala tanna diratti ahanirudde pulasayiyasa nanna manno nayyam avvam namaye ಪಂಜುನಿನ್ನ ಬಣ್ಣ ಇದೆಚ್ಚರಾವೋ ಕವ್ವಂ ಕವ್ವಂ ಸುಜ್ಜವಿತೇಯಣಂ ಕಣ್ಣಸ ಪೊತ್ತಂ ಸಮರಸಿ ಜೆವ್ವಂ ಸಿಗ್ಗಂ ಸಿಯಾಳೋಟವ ಪಟ್ಟ ಸೋಕಿಂ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಕೃತಂ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರಾಕೃತಂ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ರೋಲಿಂಗ್. ಅಮ್ಮ ಗುರು ನಮಚ್ಚುಯ ಜೀಯ ಸೀಯ ಸಣ್ಣ ಮಿಲದ್ದಪ ಇಟ್ಟೋ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಕೃತಂ. Many of the Jaina Granthams will be in Prakritam. Bauddha Granthams will be in Pali. For example, Pali will be like Attihi Bikko Akadayam Nattu Yetasya Jantuno Sattam Manasa Sunna Rattanam Sampajjai. This is Pali. So all of Ashoka's edicts will be in Pali. What have we been told? Ashoka became Buddhist after the Kalinga war, correct? Wrong. 7 years before the Kalinga war itself, he turned a Buddhist. We have never been told. There is a beautiful inscription which says 7 years before. Nobody has refuted that inscription till now. But why didn't they tell that? Because they have to tell he was a Hindu. He fought the Kalinga war. He killed many people. And then he wanted peace and became a Buddhist. That is the narrative. But he became a Buddhist 7 years before. You go and check history. You will have inscription. He became a Buddhist even before. Because he went through Kalinga war. He was very sad. Then he said, Buddham Charanam Gacchami. And then went to Dalai Lama. So, that is not the way it has been explained. Now, this is their marriage. There is another beauty. Comes our next charitram. Kuchela Upakhyanam. Ku is a prefix in Sanskritam which you generally use for something which is not very, very great, not very superior. Kuja. You know, Mars is called Kuja. Ravi Shashi Kuja Buddha Guru Shukra Shanaishchara Rahu Ketu Netaram. Kuja. Kuja means ku. Kubja. Ku. Similarly, Kuchela means the one who didn't have proper clothes to wear. Chelam, Vastram. But remember, his name we don't know. Some say Sudhama. We don't have reference to Sudhama. We are told there was a friend of Krishna who didn't have proper clothes to wear. We are giving that as his name, Kuchela. But there is no mention of the word Kuchela. Kuchailasya Kshukshamacha Tathavida is Srimad Bhagavatam Shlokam. Why? Because for men and women in those days, those spinning used to happen with the warp and the weft. You have to wear one strand of cloth. Both the men and women. So if a woman needs to drape it like a sari, she has to get like 6 meters, drape it. There was no technical concept of a blouse. It was called Stanabharam for women. And there used to be patterns. You can have patterns. See, I don't know how many of you have known of a place called Rani Ki Vav. It's in Gujarat. You take a 100 rupee note of India today, you'll see that it's a UNESCO site. Please go see. 10th century, the husband has gone out. The wife wanted to gift the husband who returns from the war. So she constructed a beautiful stepwell. Udayamati constructed for Bhima the one. They belong to a dynasty called Chaulukya. See, Chalukya is Karnataka. Chaulukya is Gujarat. It's called Rani Ki Vav. Beautiful. Go to this place. When you go to India, please visit architecture place. Usman Road liye mudichura. This is there near Pathan. So, in that Rani Ki Vav, when you get into that stepwell, 10th century stepwell, on the walls you will see beautiful geometric patterns. Those patterns were adopted in the print called Patola. If you see Patola, it is from that. If you go to a temple called Lepakshi in Andhra, it's called Lepakshi print. Whatever designs you see on the pillars will be on the sari. So architecture was a big inspiration to textiles. That said, you should wear one piece of cloth. If you're a poor person, you're a destitute, you're suffering in poverty, you're merged in poverty, then if you have to showcase that you're a poor person, the only way was to bring 2 different pieces of cloth and stitch them together. So stitching 2 different entities and wearing was a sign of poverty. Today it is designer. Right? Ikat with Paithani border and a Banarasi brocade at the top. Maybe a Kalamkari print to go with. Right, that silk could be that of KSIC Mysore. You can get those prints also. And finally, maybe an Arani or a Tribhuvanam or a Dharasuram. If with starch, it becomes Kanchipuram. With little jari, it becomes Mangalagiri. With cotton, it becomes Venkatagiri. Right? Sir, this will be a good lecture, sir. Right? Now, in Porbandar, you know about Porbandar? That was the place where Sudhama used to live, Kuchela used to live. He had a wife called Sushila, that's not there, but the locals say Sushila ji, so let's believe. Sushila ji and Sudhama ji were poor. They just had 27 children. Not even cheaper by the dozen. Costlier by 2 dozens. The children used to ask, we want kheer, payasam. Where will he go by payasam? Ramanama payasake, Krishna nama vayasakare, Vithala nama tuppava, kalasibaya chappari siro. So, then that is when the lady said, see, Nanu Brahman Bhagavataha Sakha Sakshat Shriyapatihi. We are now in poverty, Mr. Sudhama. Please go ask your friend Sakshat Shriyapati to help us. Sudhama said, I don't have the habit of asking. She said, you have the habit of producing? Go ask. So she gave some flattened rice. I'm asking in your, how will you tell in English? American flattened rice. So flattened rice. So he tied it to his angavastram. This is called Shuddha Vastram. So technically you should not put that below your panchakacham. Below it should not become a belt. It should come slightly higher. It's called Shuddham. The below one is Ashuddham. That was the belief. Okay, now he tied that flattened rice, poha, to that angavastram and went. He walked till Dwaraka. As he went and sought permission to meet Krishna, the Rakshaka said, where have you come? Sir, I've come to meet Krishna. Who is he? My friend. Your friend. You're smeared in dirt. You go tell him. The moment Krishna was told, Krishna ran down the stairs, came and hugged Kuchela and told him, Kuchela, how are you? Come. And he took and he gave all exquisite dishes. Dhokla, tepla chunda, undiyo, fafda, what is it? Kadi. அப்புறம் இவரோட ஜோக் எல்லாமே அப்படிதான் சார் இருக்கு கடி அப்புறம் then all this was given. Sudhama had very well. That is when he was made to sit on the simhasanam. Krishna said, Rukmini, come and fan him. Do chamara kainkariam. And then Sudhama asked, has Sushila Bhabhi sent something? Krishna asked. Sudhama said, I am very embarrassed to offer this to you, Krishna. She has sent. But how will you eat this, Krishna? Krishna said, I love only flattened rice. I don't like these high-calorie dishes. Give me that flattened rice. Krishna consumed. Kuchela was finding it very embarrassing. He said, Krishna, please. No, I want another handful. He took. Rukmini came and stopped. Calories for the day. Bas, rakhiye udhar. Sudhama didn't open his mouth. He went home. As he was reached Porbandar, he was walking by the street where his house used to be stationed. There was some other place, some other house there. It was like a mansion. Some lady was standing outside. He went and asked, Namaskaram, Mami. Sushila va paatela. Anna, nandanna Sushila. Yendi munnadi nanna irundiye. Earlier you were good. What has happened to you? See, I give lectures in many marriages. So there are 2-3 ways where they will position my lecture. They will keep it on the previous day after Vratam, Jatakarma, Namakarma, they will keep my lecture. Before the lunch they will keep. Or they will position my lecture between the Nishchetartham and Janavasam. 1 hour will be available. Enna pandrathu? Avara kootra edho solluvar. Edho sollindru irupar avalla keppa. Avara kootru pesinde irupare avatar. Avara kootru. And 1 month before, they would have introduced the prospect girl and the groom to me over Zoom, and I will have a good session with them explaining the rituals. Very nice children they are. They will take down notes. They look good also. But that day, the 2 hours, they won't be there. They'll go for that bridal makeup. Varuva parango munnadiye nanna irundha maadhiri irukku. Menakattu they will spend money to look bad. So Sushila was looking different. What has happened to our house? It has now become a mansion. Then she says, Swami, even I was surprised at 12:45 p.m. today while I was making chutney, togayal, on the grinding stone. You know grinding stone, it is rectangular at the top, a smaller rectangular at the bottom. It tapers towards the ends. There is a stone rolling above it to make togayal. So while she was making this, she said, 12:45, it turned into ninja. I had left the rice boiling in a mud pot. It turned Insta. All our children who are either naked or half clad were in Naidu Hall clothes. My sari, which used to be a 4-month-old sungadi, became a parampara pattu. That is when Sudhama remembered 12:45 was the time when Krishna consumed that prasadam. The moral is, even without Kuchela even mentioning what he wanted, Krishna gave what he wanted. That is Bhagavad Bhakti. You don't have to ask, you will get. Vedanta Deshika, being such an intellect par excellence, was called by Vidyaranya to Vijayanagara. Vedanta Deshika said, I won't come, because if I come as a poet, then I have to sing praises about the king. Oh, the one who has protected the entire kingdom. Vedanta Deshika said, if I have to sing, I'll sing only about Paramatma, not about any human. They said, you will get good wealth. Vedanta Deshika said, I would rather die like a Kuchela rather than be a person who pampers the king. Kshoni kona shatam shapalana kala durvala garvanala kshubhyat kshudra narendra chaturachana dhanyanna manyamahe devam sevitumeva nishchinumahe yosau dayaluf pura dhana mushti muche kuchela munaye dattesma vitteshatam. Next comes the Sambhavam, where Arjuna, after the Mahabharata Yuddham, comes to Dwaraka. Krishna and Arjuna were seated, they were having some snacks. Suddenly they heard the cry of a Brahmana who said, this child has also disappeared. Arjuna says, I'll go check. Krishna said, you have come to my place. You are my guest. Keep quiet, don't interfere what is happening in my province. Don't write op-ed articles in your country about what is happening here. You have your own problems, write articles about your own country. Don't write about what is happening here. Don't interfere. Your nose is long, keep it with yourself. But Arjuna, he has to be the Vokeshwara and Vokanayaka. So what this Vok did was, he went to that Brahmana and said, what happened? The Brahmana, every time a child is born, it disappears, I don't know where it goes. Arjuna said, if at all there's another child born to you, I promise I will protect the child. The Brahmana did that job religiously. In 1 year, the child was born. The child was born. Arjuna went, let me create a protective charm with all the astras that I've learned. He protected. A child was born, it cried. As the child cried, Arjuna looked to Krishna and said, the child is there, right? He looked at Krishna, gave him a smirk, grinned ear to ear and said, see? And he turned, the child disappeared. Will the Brahmana leave him like that? He said, fall into fire. Teal kulipai. You know, many of them will say, he'll go close to a bucket full of water and he'll put kerosene on him. Because he knows somebody will come and put water on him. So Arjuna was supposed to go into the blazing fire. While he was going, Krishna held him and said, that is why I said you should keep quiet. But will I let my best friend die in fire? Don't worry. He took the Brahmana and Arjuna on his chariot. Again, something logically untenable. He pressed one button, it went upwards like a rocket. Sir, all this is magic, sir. He went, it crossed the Tamasa Lokam and then went into Karya Vaikuntham, Vaikuntham 2.0. You remember I told you. There, as he entered the Lokam, in that Gayatri Mantapam, he saw a beautiful tortoise at the bottom, on which was a Sahasrara Padmam, over which was a 1,000-hooded Adisesha, seated on which was Mahavishnu, Narayana with one leg folded, the other leg extended, Sridevi, Bhudevi, Neela Devi, Sada Pashyanti Surayaha, Nitya Suris were celebrating through Vedic chants. Arjuna and Brahmana were flabbergasted. They were surprised to see such a beautiful sight in front of their eyes. After the Rukmini Vivaham today, when you're having darshan of the Lord in a proper queue, please make note of this. Below the Adisesha is the Kurma Mukham. Have you noticed? There's a Kurma Mukham. That is Kurma Peetham, Kurmadin, Divyalokam, Tadumanimayam, Mantapam Tatrasesham, Tasmin Dharmadi Peetham, Tadupari Kamalam, Chamaram Grahinischa, Vishnu Devi Bhushat Yuragam, Paduke Vainateyam, Senesham, Dwarapalan, Kumuda Mukhaganan, Vishnu Bhaktan Prapadye. This is the first shloka in the Aradhana Kramam. When we do Aradhanam for Shalagrama, we have to wake up the Dwarapalakas. Chandadi Dwarapalebhyo Namaha Viryayastraya Pat. Then those people will open the door and we have to bring the Shalagrama out. This is the first shloka. So he saw the Lord. Then those missing children were playing on the lap of Mahalakshmi. The Brahmana said, Enna mariye irukku paathala, mooku konjam kodamolagava irukku parunga. Adha en mooke da. So he got all these children. While giving, why was this done? Santana Gopalam, this is called this Charitram. Because the Lord in Vaikuntha wanted Arjuna to grace his place. So he created this Natakam, it seems. So, Pragevacharya Putra Hriti Nishamanaya Sviya Shashtya Sunuviksham Kangshantya Maturuktya Sutala Bhuvi Balim Prapyantena Architastvam Datushapad Viranyan Vitakashipu Bhavan Shaurijan Kamsa Bhagna Nani Yainyan Pradarshya Swapadamanayatha Swaputran Mariche. The children were given. While giving, the Sthala Puranam, Bhagavatam doesn't say, Sthala Puranam says a small image of the idol was given to the Brahmana. And that Brahmana worshipped that Vigraham, and that Vigraham can be found in a temple even today. In this Charitram, whatever Vigraham comes. It is in a temple south of Cochin, Ernakulam. It is called as Tripunitura. In Tripunitura, the Lord is referred to as Purnatrayeshan. And the descendants of the Brahmana are today the Aradhakas of the Lord in the temple. Minnum palatara ratnangal cherthulla ponnum kiritamum phaladeshe nannayalangarichidundilagavum purnatra ishvara kanangenam mallika banande kaitala mevina villilaga kambilallalegum chillinagagalum nasika bangiyum purnatra ishvara kanangenam. The Lord is referred to as Purnatrayesha. This is Santana Gopala Charitram. Now we are coming to the last portion called Rukmini Kalyanam. So there was this region called Vidarbha. Largely, in my understanding, I believe it is Nagpur region, Maharashtra. Some people say it is Assam. It is Nagpur region because in every language there are dialects, there are styles. I'm sure even in American English, you will have a certain accent to the people in the East Coast of the Appalachians, how they speak. Some people in the Midwest, the West Coast English may be different, I don't know. Is it there? Is it there? In every language, if you come to Telugu, there's a Telangana Telugu, Hyderabad Telugu. There is one Rayalaseema Telugu. There is one Godavari Telugu. East Godavari Telugu will have its a very classical form. In Malayalam, you will have Trivandrum Malayalam, which will have little Tamil admixture. So is Palakkad. If you go to Thrissur, it will be very musical. So that will be musical. If you go to Malappuram, it will come with another style. Tamil. You have Madurai Tamil. Yala. This Tirunelveli, Madurai, that Pandya Jilla will have that. Kongu Deshat Tamil. Around that belt of Coimbatore, E-Road, that will have a Tamil. Madras. Tamil, that is the highest of all. Nee edukku vanda inga. So Ekavachanam, see, they don't see any difference. Ekameva advitiyam, all jivatmas are equal. So, likewise Hindi. So I spent many years in Bombay, my wife in Delhi. So she doesn't call what Hindi I speak from Bombay as even Hindi. She says it is some other language, Hindi nahi hai. So every language will have. Similarly in Sanskritam, classy Sanskritam, classical Sanskritam, 916 Sanskritam, 22 carat Sanskritam was the Sanskritam spoken in Vidarbha region. It was called Vaidarbhi. So in that region ruled a king called Bhishmaka. Bhishmaka had 5 sons. First son was Rukmamali, Rukmabahu. See, that existed even in those days. If you have 4 or 5 children, in those days they will have 7 daughters. How will they remember? Prakriti, Vikriti, Vidya, Sarvabhuta Hita Prada, Shraddha, Vibhuti, Surabhi. 7 ponnu vandrum. 8வது vandurtana Mangala or Shubha. Over. The production process is over. So Rukmi, Rukmabahu, Rukmamali, they were their 5 sons, useless sons. The only thing that the Raja did usefully was to produce a daughter called Rukmini. Shikhandakam nishpratimam shrutinam shringara lilopama vishwakrityam adhiyate tanmithunam swabhava anyonya jivatu mananya bhogyam. She was so pretty. See, Venkatadhvari Kavi says, how are the arms of the goddess? Please appreciate literature. Are you all awake? Nobody had pongal in the morning, no? Very dangerous. Oh, you need to tell pochu. Good. You're listening? Very good. Pongal seriya pandala nenekkren. So now the arms of Mahalakshmi, Rukmini, used to turn red. The poet asks why. He says that Mahalakshmi used to sport bangles of antique finish, matte finish, antique finish. Even if it's high making charge, she had that. Now, she used to nurture a parrot. Innadishilodu paalamudutti valartha en kola kiliyai. She used to nurture a parrot. Looking at the parrot, Rukmini used to smile. With the red lips. You had lipstick even then. Remember, that thing is coming from Yardley and Victoria's Secret alone. We have lipstick in our own country. I have to give you one special lecture. How perfume was produced in Bharata Desham. How all of this, how footwear was. 1500 years before, you have beautiful extensions to footwear. Like the heels of today. Everything can be described from architecture. Just that we do not know, we immediately say there was nothing like this. Our ignorance can never be the answer. We are ignorant. So as she used to smile, the poet says, the reflection of the red hue of her lips used to fall on those white teeth. So momentarily those teeth used to resemble the pomegranate seeds because the red hue is falling on the white teeth. So the parrot on the hand used to assume they were pomegranate seeds and would run and rush to prick them. So Rukmini used to stop them. Don't go, they are my teeth. So as she went this way and that way, the bangles went this way and that way and made her skin turn red. Hantarastamasa mudanti kamale danta mudam tavakaha. See, if you look at the brows, don't look at mine. In this adhana. Brow, it should go up like a mountain. On the other side too. For the man and the woman, Lakshana Shastram says there should be little hair between the brows. So what will happen is, it will look like this, go down and then come up. It will look like a bow. Villai otta purvattal. Have you heard of this Villai otta? The eyebrows will look like a bow. Now you have to shoot an arrow. How will you shoot? So when the lady with the abhinayam moves her in the left to right, when she moves her eyes, because dancers will be taught that when she moves, it means she's shooting that eye glances as arrows. See, it's all description. And how were the eyebrows looking? Another poet says, Tarunya nadyastanu vichi kalpe tadbrullate shanganidana drishye angesha veda pranavasya ratya. Wow. Veda pranavasya ratra. See, in pranavam, you know what is pranavam? I cannot tell that in public. It is pranavam. It is a sound which everybody knows now. It will have a, u and ma. Akaram, ukaram and makaram. Ma. So her eyebrows look like pranavam, it seems. Ananga veda pranavasya ratya lekhaksharam nyastam asucha yetam. She was so beautiful. Who is this? Our Ruku. Now comes the beautiful Sahityam to describe the greatness of Rukmini.
Kalyana Gopalo Karunadavalo Kalyana Gopalo Karunadavalo Malyalagita Vide Madana Gopalo Kalyana Gopalo Amaranari Gita Agamari Gita Amita Pagaveda Ashayana Tau Kalyana Gopalo Mavathimira Banu Bhaktakam Denu Shiva Narayana Dita Shigravara Danu Kalyana Gopalo Karunana Palo Malyalagita Vide Madhana Gopalo
Rukmini, she was in love with Krishna. At the same time, Shishupala, Ketpar Shevishudu Sishupalan, Sishupala, the king of Chedi Desham, he joined a Gymkhana. In that Gymkhana, there were two existing members, Jarasandha, and then he joined, and Jarasandha and Shishupala became friends. Eventually, Rukmi came one day. Rukmi said, I am a new entry. He said, no, please sit. Rukmi said, I have a sister, we have to find a match. We have put advertisements everywhere, 5 feet 7 inches, roggy complexion, clean habits only. Kalai, no bar. We have put all this, we have not found anyone. What to do? Jarasandha said, why do you have to go hunt for a son-in-law? Here is one. Yar, our Sishupala. So Rukmini said, okay, fine, good deal. He went to his father Bhishmaka and said, Bhishmaka, I have arranged this marriage of our sister. Bhishmaka was a powerless king. He said, okay. So the invitations were printed by Menaka. So C. Sishupal weds B. Rukmini. Ishtamitra Bandukkaludan with compliments from Rukmi, Rukmamali, Rukmabahu, Malligapu, their dog. All this invitation was printed. And the Sairandrika Stris came with all their toolkit and they said, Rukmini, congratulations. I'm really happy that you're getting married soon. I'm so happy for you. Happy for me? Why? Don't you know tomorrow morning is your marriage? Yay, wedding bells. What? With whom? Sishupala, don't you know? Havana. Ayyo. What to do, Sishupala? Rukmini said, I don't know. Why have they not consulted? Nothing. Marriage was fixed. That evening, remember in Rukmini Vivaham, be very careful. The engagement, the Bharat, Janavasam of Rukmini happened with Sishupala. Marriage alone with Krishna. Andal tells, Kannalan kodittu kannidannai kaipidippan thinnarndu irunda Shishupalan than tesharindu annarndirukkave aangavalai kaipiditha Kannalan Penumur. So if you look at Rukmini's marriage album, first half it will be with Sishupala, second half with Krishna. So that Janavasa Urgolam, then Sishupala, Rukmini, somebody's child in the middle. And Sishupala said, Rukmini, smile. She said, why should I smile? You're anyways not going to be my husband tomorrow. So she wrote one letter. She wanted to bring Krishna. So she rolled that letter and gave it to a Brahmana. The Brahmana did not know the contents of that letter. Mommy, keep quiet, I've kept a chariot ready, go to Dwaraka, give it to Krishna. Talk slowly, go give it to Krishna. Brahmana took, the chariot was directed to Dwaraka. He was welcomed as he was coming from Vidarbha Desham. He gave it to Krishna. Krishna said, I have no secrets, my life is an open book. You read the letter. The moment the letter was opened and the first word the Brahmana read, Shrutva, Krishna knew the tone and tenor of this letter suggests this is a love letter. You give it to me, he said. Kanne, en Aramudi, en Kannai, Kanavanda, Kalai, Mane, Tene, Mane, Pene. So he opened 7 verses. See, people generally ask, which do you like to tell in your Upanyasam? Which part you like? Every part. See, Upanyasam, when we come every day for us, we have to imagine. Krishna will bring that scene. But if there is one juncture which I celebrate, it is Rukmini's letter. Nothing can match the grandeur of her letter. Women used to speak Prakritam. They were generally not, they never spoke Sanskritam to a large extent. But she was a trendsetter. She said, why should I listen to others? I will speak in Sanskritam. She wrote 7 verses. There is no match to the grandeur. The emotion that is portrayed in the words and between the lines. Krishna sees what she has written. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrinvatante. Look at the way she addresses. Shrutva. Krishna, I have just heard about you. People have been telling nice things about you. I have just heard about you. I have not seen you. Your profile picture is also locked. I can't even see how you are. But I have fallen in love with you. Shrutva. Krishna may ask, right, what if I don't look that good? That is okay. Dhanush says, Pata pudikadu, paka pudiko. Shrutva. What have you heard about me, Rukmini? Krishna may ask. Shrutva gunan. I've heard about your gunam. Krishna said, oh, Ruku, I lie, I steal, I dance. Are these gunams? You are saying you've fallen in love after my gunams. That is when she said, Krishna, this is not a Kerala story. I have fallen in love with you truly. But I have doshams. That is when Rukmini said, you are very weak in Sanskritam. Shrutva agunan. Agunam. I have fallen in love with your doshams, not with your... அவர் எப்படி சிகரெட் என்னமா பிடிக்கிறார் அதை பார்த்தாலே ஸ்டைல். Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara. Bhuvana sundara. She addresses him, Mr. World. You are my Bhuvana Sundara. Neither is being human Salman or neither is Ranveer my. You are my Sundara. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara. He was Sundara. When he was a little child, Yashoda used to think people are casting evil glances on my son. I need to reduce his beauty. So she used to bring the forest flowers which were very crude and used to adorn him, thinking that he will not look so good. Chitra kalpa shravasi kalayan langali karnapuram barhotam samspurita chikuro bandhujivam dadanaha gunja baddha murasi lalitam dharayan harayashtim gopastrinam jayati kitavaha kopi kaumarahari. Vedanta Deshika says, after adorning him with forest products, she used to say kimapi kitavaha. Kitava in Sanskrit means rascal. She is telling her son, oh, you rascal. Can you tell like that? No, because in love, even abusive words will seem good. Thiruttu payale. If you tell a 2-year-old boy, thiruttu payale, it means you're pampering. If you tell a 40-year-old man, thiruttu payale, you're really meaning it. So, he was Sundara. After adorning him with forest products, he became Vana Sundara. Shrutva gunan Vana Sundara. Then she thought he's all the more beautiful, took all those flowers away and then adorned him with the regular ornaments. Shritva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara. Shritva Gunan Sundara. Shritva Gunan Vana Sundara. Shritva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara. Shritva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Shrinvatante Nirvishya Karna Vivaraihi Haratonga Tapam Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akhilarthalabham Tvayachyuta Vishati Chittama Patrapam Me. I'm suffering, I'm having fever. Krishna asked, did you do RT-PCR? No, not that fever. Fever because of the separation. Tapam. Katva Mukunda Mahati Kulashila Rupa Vidyavayodravina Dhama Bhiratma Tulyam Dhirapatim Kulavatina Vrinita Kanya Kale Nrisimha Naraloka Manobhiramam. She says, you are the lion amongst men. Kale Nrisimha Naralokam. Come and take me. Then the other meaning is, the Vyakhyata states, that day when the little boy said that you have pervaded the blade of grass and the pillar, you emerged out of the pillar to prove the words of your devotee right. Satyam vidhatum nijabhritya bhashitam. To prove Prahlada's words right, you emerged from the pillar. To prove my words right, emerged out of the letter. Kale Nrisimha Naraloka Manobhiramam Tanme Bhavan Khalu Vritaf Patirangajayam Atmarpitascha Bhavatotra Vibho Videhi Mavira Bhagam Abhimarshatu Chaidya Arat Gomayuvan Mrigapater Balirambujaksha. See, I have been engaged to you in my mind. I can't think of anybody else. Dog lovers, please forgive me. Rukmini says, what is meant for the lion shouldn't go to a stray dog. She says that if PETA feels it is wrong, go ask Rukmini. Gomayuvan Mrigapater Balirambujaksha. I have been waiting to marry you. Purteshta niyamavrata deva vipragurvarchanadibiralam bhagavan pareshah aradhito yadigadagraja aityapanim grinhatu mena damagosha sutadayonye. Let this man, dirty man Shishupala, not marry me. Marrying you is secondary. I can't marry this man. Shobhavini tvamajito vadahe vidarbhan. Then Krishna, you may ask me. Rukmini says, you may ask me. Rukmini, even the Tambulam bag says, see Shishupala be Rukmini. Your engagement is over, ma. How can I come? Krishna, remember, Article 15 and 21 of our constitution says, if the girl, in those days the constitution, if the girl likes the boy likes the girl's family doesn't like the boy, with the permission of the boy can come and take the girl. You have not heard it. Don't quote me anywhere. She says, Shobha vinittvamajito dvadahe vidarbhan gupta sametya pratanapati bhivparitaha nirmathya chaidya madagendra balam prasahya mam rakshasena. It is called rakshasa vivaham if you take like that. Mam rakshasena vidhinodvaha virya shulkam. Who is giving idea? Rukmini. Then she says, Krishna, you may ask. Okay, Rukmini, there is Rakshasa Vivaham, but tomorrow morning is 9 o'clock, your Muhurtam, how can I come? Rukmini says, it is our family tradition to go to Girija Devi's temple. You come there. This is our Rukmini. Antaf purantarachani manihatya bandhum stvamudvahe kathamiti pravadamyupayam purvedyurasti mahati kuladeviyatra yasyam bahir navavadhum girijamupeyat. When I worship Girija, come there. Krishna says, Rukmini, I will do my level best. I will try completely, I'll give it a try. What if I can't come? Rukmini says, do you think I will spare you? 100 janmas I will chase you. Yasyangri pankajarajasnapanam mahanto vachantyumapatirivatyamatahopahatyai yarhyambujakshanalabheya bhavat prasadam jahyamasuna vratakritanshata janmabhisyat. After he read the letter, he looked at the Brahmana. Shaparthu kadaikuma? Shapaatile irkadhu. He held his hand and let the Brahmana and Krishna sit on the chariot, and the horses started riding. Sringeri Mahasannidhanam, while an Upanyasaka was giving this lecture, asked, what are the names of those horses? Sir, how will I know the names of the horses? Acharya said, you don't have to know the names of the horses if they were ours. If it is Krishna's, you should know the name. Shaibhya, Sugriva, Megha Pushpa, Balahaka. These are the names of the horses. Krishna took from Dwaraka, he has to come all the way to Vidarbha region, Kundinapuram. So they started the previous night. Morning 5:45, 6, he reaches the outskirts. Now Bhishmaka, knowing that Krishna has come in the periphery, goes with fruits and milk and mixes and gives, unaware of the fact that only to the incoming son-in-law you will give Madhuparkam. The other media channels started speculating. He is not there in the guest list. Aapke guest list mein hai kya? Why is Krishna come to our periphery? They said, keep quiet, let him do whatever he wants. A huge pandal was erected. Atop was a beautiful hill, and there was a temple of Girija. Rukmini had a sleepless night. She adorned herself. She waited for the Sairandrika's trees. She went to the temple. She prayed to Girija Devi. Mate, please send your brother at the earliest. Sindhura Runa Vigraham Trinayana Manikamauli Spurattara Nayaka Shekharam Smita Mukim Apina Vakshoruham Panibhyam Manipurna Ratna Chasakam Raktotpalam Bhibratim Saumyam Ratna Ghatastha Rakta Charanam Dhyayet Param Ambikam Arunam Taruna Tarangita Akshim Dritapashankusha Pushpa Bana Chapam Animadi Bhira Vritam Mayukhair Aham Ityeva Vibhavaye Bhavani Dhyayet Padma Sanastam Vikasita Vadanam Padma Patrayataakshi Hema Bham Pita Vastram Karakalilalasat Hema Padmam Varangi Sarvalankara Yuktam Satatam Abhayatam Bhaktanam Ram Bhavani Shri Vidyam Shantamurtim Sakala Suranutam Sarva Sampat Pradatrim Sakunkuma Vilepana Manika Chumbikasturikam Samandahasitekshanam Sachara Chapapa Shankusham Asesha Jana Mohini Marunamalya Bhushambharam Japa Kusuma Bhasuram Japa Vidau Smare Tambikam. Ambika, please send your brother. She came out. 9 o'clock Muhurtam. 8:45. Not a single sign. People down, media people. Ruku! Come down, 15 more minutes. Sairandrika's trees. Madam, they are calling us. We have to go. Wait. Not a single sign of Krishna coming. 8:55, 5 more minutes, they are calling. Rukmini, come down. She lost hope. As she turned to her Sairandrika's trees, she had a sense that somebody could be coming. She turned left. At a very far off distance from the horizon, a small image emerged. And then as that image emerged, she was doubtful, who could this be? And as that beautiful Ratham was coming forward with the dust that was emanated, thrown in the air, she did not know who it could be. That is when Deshikan says, Tulasi Gandham Panchajanyasya Nadam. They heard the sound of Panchajanyam at that point in time. This blowing of the conch happened. And as Krishna reached that spot, he extended his hand. This is the first time that she's seen him. How was his face? Asks Vedanta Deshika. It looked like a beautiful flower, and her eyes looked like the bumblebees that would hover around that flower. And as she extended her hand and he extended, she was pulled into the chariot. And all the people in the vicinity of Kundinapuram saw through their eyes that the marriage was happening for another couple whom they had never intended. As the chariot went away in a second, here Shishupala was asking, what happened? That is when came the Namavali. Gopika Jivana Smaranam Govinda Govinda. She is gone. So, And in a whisk, in a second, that chariot went away. As the chariot went away, it reached the beautiful vicinity of Dwaraka. And as the door opened, came Devaki, because she knew if somebody knocks at the door, she will have the daughter-in-law for that day. She will have the harati ready. Amma, nee yaarma, om per enna? Om per enna, what is your name? And immediately Vasudeva, after her arati is over, will allot one room. Amma, nee 302, po. They will give one immediate one identity card, social security number, you go there. So that is when they welcomed Mahalakshmi, seriously Mahalakshmi, as my Purandaradasa states.
Bhagyada Lakshmi Varamma Nammu Mani Bhagyada Lakshmi Varamma Gejjaya Kalu Gilu Gilu Yenuta Yejjayam Vare Yejjaya Nikku Sajjana Sadhu Pujaya Vela Majjigayolagine Vilneyante Bhagyada Lakshmi Varamma Kanaka Vrishtiya Kanabuta Bhare Kanakavanaya Siddhi Sedore Dinakara Koti Dejatu Olaya Janakaraya Kumari Hare Bhagyada Lakshmi Varamma Sange illada bhagyava gottu ganakaiya tirubuta bhara kungumangita pankajalocha venkataramanana venkatarani sabhagyada Lakshmi Varamma Chakkaradupaga kali viharisi Shukravarada pujaya vela Akharayulla puranda Shokkapurandara Vitaranarani Bhagyada Lakshmi Varamma Naumadi Saubhagyada Lakshmi Varamma.
As the Harati was taken and the daughter-in-law Rukmini Sakshat, Mahalakshmi was invited to the darbar. There was just exchange of garlands. Vedanta Deshika states in Godastuti, Nyunadhikatva samata vishayair vivadaihi. Malai சாற்றினாள் கோதை மாலை மாற்றினாள் மாலை சாற்றினாள் கோதை மாலை மாற்றினாள் மாலடைந்து மதிலரங்கன் மாலையவன் தன் மார்பிலே மையலாள் தையலாள் மாமலர் கரத்தினாள் மையலாள் தையலாள் மாமலர் கரத்தினாள் பூமாலை சாற்றினாள் கோதை மாலை மாற்றினாள் மாலை சாற்றினாள் கோதை மாலை மாற்றினாள் மாலடைந்து மதிலரங்கன் மாலையவன் தன் மார்பிலே மாலடைந்து மதிலரங்கன் மாலையவன் தன் மார்பிலே மையலாள் தையலாள் மாமலர் கரத்தினாள் மையலாள் தையலாள் மாமலர் கரத்தினாள் மாலை சாற்றினாள் கோதை மாலை மாற்றினாள் ரங்கராஜனை அன்பர் தங்கநேசனை அன்பர் தங்கநேசனை ஆசி கூறி பூசுரர்கள் பேசி வைத்து வாழ்த்திட ஆசி கூறி பூசுரர்கள் பேசி வைத்திட அன்புடன் இன்பமாய் ஆண்டாள் கரத்தினில் அன்புடன் இன்பமாய் ஆண்டாள் கரத்தினில் மாலை சாற்றினாள் கோதை மாலை மாற்றினாள் பூமாலை சாற்றினாள் கோதை மாலை மாற்றினாள் மாலை சாற்றினாள் கோதை மாலை மாற்றினாள் மாலடைந்து மதிலரங்கன் மாலையவன் தன் மார்பிலே மாலடைந்து மதிலரங்கன் மாலையவன் தன் மார்பிலே மையலாள் தையலாள் மாமலர் கரத்தினாள் மையலாள் தையலாள் மாமலர் கரத்தினாள் பூமாலை சாற்றினாள் கோதை மாலை மாற்றினாள் பூமாலை சாற்றினாள் கோதை மாலை மாற்றினாள். As they reached the beautiful Sabha Mantapam, we will now listen to the Churnika and Pravaram. It's a paddhati that you listen to the beautiful lineages of both Rukmini and Krishna, and then there will be Tirumangalya Dharanam for both Sridevi and Bhudevi here.
ತತ್ರಗಳು ದ್ವಾರವತ್ಯಾಂ ಸಕಲ ಸುರ ಸುರ ಗಂಧರ್ವ ಚಿನ್ನರ ವಿದ್ಯಾಧರ ನಾಗನಾರಿ ಪರಿಜನಾತ್ರೀಕೃತ ಸುರೇಂದ್ರ ಮಹಾಸುಭಾಯೌ ತಪ್ತ ಜಾಂಬನೂದ ಅನೇಕ ಕೋಟಿ ರವಿಕಾಂತ ಸ್ಫಟಿಕ ಮರಗದ ವಜ್ರ ವೈಡೂರ್ಯ ಅನೇಕ ಅನೇಕ ವಿದ್ಯೋತಮಾನ ಸಹಸ್ರ ಸ್ತಂಭ ಮಂಡಪ ವಿರಾಜಮಾನ ಸುರಗುರು ಮತಿ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧಿತ ವಿದ್ಯಾಲ ಸತ್ಪುತ ಸತ್ಸಲ್ಗುಲ್ಯ ಅನೇಕ ಕೋಟಿ ಮಹಾಕವಿ ವಂದಿ ಕಾಯಕ ಹಾಸಕಾದಿ ಲಕ್ಷಣ ಲಕ್ಷಿತಾಯ ಗರ್ಗ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಮಾಮುನಿ ಅಧಿಷ್ಠಿತಾಯ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ಸಭಾಯ ಇಕ್ಷುಶೀಥಿರ ತತಿ ಮಧು ಕೃತಕುಳ ಘೋರೋಚನ ಜೀರಕ ಮರೀಚಕಾದಿ ಮಂಗಳಾತ್ರವ್ಯ ಸಂಭಾರವತ್ಯಾಂ ಕರ್ಕ ಪ್ರಭೃಪ್ರದಯೋ ವಸುದೇವ ಅನುಮತ್ಯ ಮಹಾಸಂಕಲ್ಪಪೂರ್ವಕಂ ಶ್ರೀ ರುಕ್ಮಿಣೀ ಕೃಷ್ಣಯೋ ಗಾಂಧರ್ವ ವಿಧಿನ ವೈವಾಹ ಮಹೋತ್ಸವಾಯ ಪ್ರವರ ರತ್ನಾಷ್ಟಕೌ ಆರವಲ್ದಃ ಚತುರ್ವೇದ ಶಾಖಾಧ್ಯಾಯಿನಿ ಸರ್ವ ಶ್ರುತಿ ಸ್ಮೃತಿ ಪುರಾಣ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಾರ್ಥ ಸ್ವರೂಪಿಣಿ ಕಾಶ್ಯಪ ಅವಸ್ತಾರ ನೈತೃವ ದಯಾರಿಷೇಯ ಪ್ರವರಾನ್ವಿತ ಕಾಶ್ಯಪ ಗೋತ್ರೋದ್ಭವ ತತ್ವಸ್ವರೂಪಿಣಿ ಚಂದ್ರವಂಶ ಪ್ರದೀಪಿಕಾ ವೈದರ್ಭ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ವರ್ಮಣೋ ನಪ್ತ್ರಿ ಭೋಜರಾಜ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ವರ್ಮಣ ಪೌತ್ರಿ ಭೀಷ್ಮಕ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ವರ್ಮಣ ಪುತ್ರಿ ಶ್ರೀ ರುಕ್ಮಿಣಿ ನಾಮ್ನಿ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಶ್ರೀ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಸ್ವರೂಪಿಣಿ ಭೀಮಾಂ ಕಲ್ಯಾಂ ಚತುರ್ವೇಕಸಾಧ್ಯಾಧ್ಯಾಯಿನೇ ಸರ್ವ ಶ್ರುತಿ ಸ್ಮೃತಿ ಪುರಾಣ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಗಮ್ಯಾಯ ವಾಸಿಷ್ಠ ಇಂದ್ರ ಪ್ರಮದ ಆಪ್ರವಸು ತ್ರಯಾರಿಷೇಯ ಪ್ರವರಾನ್ವಿತ ವಾಸಿಷ್ಠ ಗೋತ್ರೋದ್ಭವಾಯ ತತ್ವಾಧೀತಾಯ ಪರಾಯ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ವಿಗ್ರಹಾಯ ಸೋಮವಂಶ ಭಾವನಾಯ ಶ್ರೀ ಯದುಕುಲ ವಂಶೋದ್ಭವಶ್ಯ ವಿಧೂರಥ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ವರ್ಮಣ ನಪ್ತ್ರ ಸುರಸೇನು ದೇವಮೀಠ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ವರ್ಮಣ ಪೌತ್ರಾಯ ವಸುದೇವ ಆನಕ ಧುಂದಿಭಿ ವರ್ಮಣ ಪುತ್ರಾಯ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಚಂದ್ರ ವರ್ಮಣೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಪರಿಪೂರ್ಣ ತಮಸ್ವರೂಪಾಯ ವರಾಯ.
Now we will have the beautiful Tirumangalya Dharanam, the Tirumangalya Dharanam which is being tied to Sridevi and Bhudevi with their grace, who is essentially the form of Rukmini. We will now see Venugopala Swami of our very own Srirangam Srimad Andavanashramam, and this Tirumangalya Dharanam will happen, and it is said by our elders, whatever is your legitimate reason for you to accomplish, whatever is your wish, whatever is your desire, whatever is your karma, whatever is legitimate as per your karma, surely the Lord will help accomplish that. And now we will have the Tirumangalya Dharanam.
ಮಾಂಗಲ್ಯಂ ತಂದು ನಾನೇನ ಜಗಜ್ಜೀವನ ಹೇತುನಾ ಕಂಠೆ ಬದ್ನಾನಿ ಶುಭಗೆ ಸಂಜೀವ ಶರದ ಶತೌ ಮಾಂಗಲ್ಯಂ ತಂದು ನಾನೇನ ಜಗಜ್ಜೀವನ ಹೇತುನಾ ಕಂಠೆ ಬದ್ನಾನಿ ಶುಭಗೆ ಸಂಜೀವ ಶರದ ಶತೌ ಮಾಂಗಲ್ಯಂ ತಂದು ನಾನೇನ ಜಗಜ್ಜೀವನ ಹೇತುನಾ ಕಂಠೆ ಬದ್ನಾನಿ ಶುಭಗೆ ಸಂಜೀವ ಶರದ ಶತೌ ಸರ್ವಮಂಗಳ ಮಾಂಗಲ್ಯೆ ಶಿವೆ ಸರ್ವಾರ್ಥ ಸಾಧಿಕೆ ಶರಣ್ಯೇ ತ್ರಯಂಬಕೆ ಗೌರಿ ನಾರಾಯಣಿ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೇ.
as this beautiful Vivaham, Parinayam happened, Narayana Tirtha said how this Drishyam was. Dwarakapuri.
द्वारकापुर मंडपे वातशादित्य सन्निभे भूरि रत्न सिंहासने भूसुरगणे वीरासन सुखासीनो विश्वमंगलदायिनो वीरयोगी संसेवनं देवकी वसुदेव सुनो आलोकये रुक्मिणी कल्याण गोपालम् नीलमेघ निभाकारौ बालक समान चेलो नीलांबरनुजो गोपबालको नीलाल कांतो आलोकये रुक्मिणी कल्याण गोपालम् चंद्रानन भैष्मी वामा जाम्बवती सत्यमित्र बिंदभद्र लक्ष्मण कालिंदी नायको नंदनंदनमाश्रित बृंद बृंद रकवल्यो नंदित नारायण तीर्थानंदम् आनंद कंदो आलोकये रुक्मिणी कल्याण गोपालम्.
Rukmini and Krishna, as they were married, there's one beautiful conversation that comes. Once, Krishna just like that asked, Tan praptan arthito hitva chaidyadin smara durmadan datta bhratra swapitra cha kasman no vavrishe asman. When you are so beautiful, Rukmini, how did you choose me? He asked. That very moment, Shukabrahmam says she swooned. She said, how dare you ask such question? I am so much in love with you. That is when, for a minute, Tirukudandai Andavan, see such a beautiful correlation. Tirukudandai Andavan, one of the greatest acharyas, he used to state. It seems Krishna went and puked. He throwed up, vomited. She asked, why are you vomiting? That is when Krishna said, see, there is one person who tames cows in our region. And he offers food to the cows, fodder. This was a very old fodder, so stale, beyond its expiry date. So the cows refused to consume that food. So this person thought, why should I waste? And he gave it to Krishnaya. And he said that name and gave it to Krishna. I accept whatever my devotees give. So I had stomach upset. So the point is, Krishna says, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, Yome, Bhaktya, Prayachati. Whatever you offer, I will give. Even your devotion, yourself, the best is to offer yourself, Atma Samarpanam. So, the Kavi says there is no kurai. Whether we have kurai or not, I have no kurai. I'll tell you, I'm extremely thankful to all the Bhagavatottamas of Sri Vedanta Sabha. I would like to thank each of them. At the foremost, I would like to thank Dwarakanath Swami for doing such a yeoman task. We have we have Dhruv, we have Dhruv. Where is Dhruv? As I say the name, please come forward or raise your hand. So, because without the volunteers, no such event is possible. See, I am sure Dallas has some of the best shows. During weekdays, weekends you will have. Monday to Sunday, 7 days at a stretch, 2.5 hours a day. It's not easy to organize. So I would like to thank Dhruv. Where is Dhruv? Is he there? Balaji. Is Balaji here? Swami, thank you. Sai Ganesh. Raman. Where is Ram? Vaijayanti Shrikant. Where is Vaijayanti Shrikant? Namaskaram. Next, Diya Raman. Sanjana Natarajan. Na absent anavala pathani per kuduthirukela illiyava. Seenu Srinivasan. Namaste. Radha Mami. Any hand? Kaiye mattu thooka mattala. Okay. Nikhil Srinivas. Where is Nikhil? Nitin Shriram. Ram Vishwanathan. Chakram Rajagopal. Suchitra Chakram. Krishna Iyengar. Where is Krishna Iyengar? Is not there? Okay. Next, Krishna Kuppuswamy. Kicha. Where is Kicha? So, Sri Ram Ayyappan. Shiva Ramani. Shantanam Natarajan. Swaminathan. Sunil Patel. Where is Sunil Patel? Yeah. Next, Karthik. Satish. And the SVS board members, Chitra Iyengar, Vijay Iyengar, Priya Srinivasan, எழுந்துக்குங்க, Radhika Appan, Shanti Satish, Aruna Raman, Shrikant Kannan, Murari Appan, and Dwaraka Iyengar Swami. Thanks to all of them and my dear host family, Shriman Shrikant and Nimmi and their family. So they are here. And see, I'll tell you, the board members, volunteers, people on the stage, my hosts, they are all irrelevant if you are all not there. So a big clap, applause to all the Astikas present here. And to the gracious Sishyas of Srirangam Srimad Andavan Ashramam, all the Sishyas here, devout Sishyas, who are carrying forward the teachings of Bhagavad Ramanuja and Swami Deshika through Andavan Ashramam here for having blessed us with the Murti's presence, Venugopala Swami Murti's presence. Thanks. குறைவொன்றுமில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா, குறைவொன்றுமில்லை கண்ணா, குறைவொன்றுமில்லை கோவிந்தா, கண்ணுக்கு தெரியாமல் நிற்கின்றாய் கண்ணா, கண்ணுக்கு தெரியாமல் நின்றாலும் எனக்கு குறைவொன்றுமில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா, வேண்டியதை தந்திட வெங்கடேசனில் இருக்க வேண்டியது வேறில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா, மணிவண்ணா மலையப்பா கோவிந்தா கோவிந்தா, திரையின் பின் நிற்கின்றாய் கண்ணா, கண்ணா திரையில் பின் நிற்கின்றாய் கண்ணா, ஆவுல்னை மறைவோதும் ஞானியர் மட்டுமே காண்பார், திரையில் பின் நிற்கின்றாய் கண்ணா, ஆவுல்னை மறைவோதும் ஞானியர் மட்டுமே காண்பார், என்றாலும் குறைவொன்றும் எனக்கில்லை கண்ணா, என்றாலும் குறைவொன்றும் எனக்கில்லை கண்ணா, குன்றின் மேல் கல்லாகி நிற்கின்றவரதா, குன்றின் மேல் கல்லாகி நிற்கின்றவரதா, குறைவொன்றுமில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா, குறைவொன்றுமில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா. கண மணிவண்ண மலையப்ப கோவிந்த கோவிந்த கலிநாளுக்கு இறங்கி கலிலே இறங்கி நிலையாக கோயிலில் நிற்கின்றாய் கேசவா கலிநாளுக்கு இறங்கி கலிலே இறங்கி நிலையாக கோயிலில் நிற்கின்றாய் கேசவா குறை ஒன்றும் இல்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா யாது மறுக்காத மலையப்பா யாது மறுக்காத மலையப்பா ஏதும் தர நிற்கும் கருணை கடலனை என்றும் இருந்திட எது குறை எனக்கு என்றும் இருந்திட ஏது குறை எனக்கு ஒன்றும் குறையில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா ஒன்றும் குறையில்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா மணிவண்ணா மலையப்பா கோவிந்தா 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 कवितार्किक सिंहाय कल्याण गुणशालिने श्रीमते वेंकटेशाय वेदांत गुरवे नमः। स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्याय्येन मार्गेण महिं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। नमस्कारं to all of you.